Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. Big shout out to everybody over the weekend. Thank you so much for supporting The Monty Show. You guys remember last Thursday when we were all celebrating and giving away $100 gift cards to Amazon because we had broken 25,000 subscribers on the show? Yeah, that was 2,425 subscribers ago. So the show is exploding thanks to you. Couldn't do this without you. Couldn't do it without the advocates, the best injury attorneys in the business. The advocates, because you never pay the advocates. Well, really, you never reach into your pocket. You don't pay them unless and until they win your case. I had a mental freeze there.
It's all right.
But it's fine. I've only said this a million times in my life. The advocates, the best injury attorneys in the business. Chat with an attorney live online right now. No cost, for free. Theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on The Monty Show, and a massive day of news for you on the showgram today. A lot to get to. Yes, we will talk Dallas Cowboy football. Yes, we will talk USC. Yes, Jake, your boy did not cover the 30 points like you promised me he would.
Yeah, and I got a problem with it.
Idiot. Notre Dame covered. Notre Dame football, we're winning the national championship, right? You know, it's all good. It is all good. But today, we are going to start with breaking news in the ACC because I think this has long-reaching implications about the structure of college football. And as we've been telling you on the show for about the last 10 days, the ACC has ebbed and flowed up and down, close and far, from ACC expansion with Stanford, Cal, and SMU. We reported Friday on the show that ESPN had really started throwing its weight around. Sources had told us that ESPN reached out to the Big 12 and had, cursory conversations about the Big 12 adding Stanford and Cal. I never heard that the Big 12 was in any conversation to add Oregon and Washington State. I know others out there have reported that. I am telling you directly, my sources told me the conversations that ESPN had with the Big 12 centered on Stanford and Cal. And that, I am told, really moved the ACC because ESPN has had significant momentum to getting Stanford and Cal into a P5. They thought they had it done in the ACC. Florida State threw a wrench into the whole equation, backed things up a little bit. But from what our sources are telling us and what is being widely reported now, the ACC will either expand tonight or tomorrow. They would really like to get this done before week 1 of the season kicks off. Obviously, that is Thursday with Utah and Florida here in Salt Lake City. But this is a big deal. It changes the face of college football because not only does this expand the ACC, but I think one of the details that a lot of people are forgetting about, the impact that this has on the automatic qualifiers. We told you last week, our sources in college football were telling us that the automatic qualifiers were going to be very different for the 2024 season. And in a matter of 2 days, the College Football Playoff Committee is going to meet, and they are going to decide probably in the next 90 days how teams are selected, which teams are going to get an automatic qualifier in that, hey, the Power 4 conference champions are automatically in, and one G5 is automatically in for 5. Now, where are you going to get the other 7? And I think that is a huge part of ACC expansion because the moment the Stanford and Cal leave the Pac-12, college football is over as we know it. And, Jake, I wonder, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, a conference dying in college football is never a good thing. I mean, that's obviously not ideal. That's obviously not what anybody wants. But at the same time, I do think it's the natural progression, whether we like it or not. I think that's where the business of college athletics is going. We're consolidating. We want to pare down the power conferences, but make them bigger at the same time. And so to me, yeah, I think it's good on one hand, but it's bad on the other. I don't like the idea of the SEC and the Big Ten having the most say in automatic qualifiers and how the college football playoff works. But at the same time, I can't make a case as to why they shouldn't have that say and why they shouldn't have that control, because they've been the ones that have been doing the winning. So what case can we say, or what reason can we come up with for them not having that control and that say? So is it good or bad for college football? Yeah, I think for the most part, the direction of college football is going in a, generally speaking, good direction. But I think under that, there are some asterisks, as there are with anything. Again, this auto qualifier thing with the college football playoff, I think could be excellent. It could be outstanding. But I also think if you mess it up, it could do real damage to the lower end Power 4 school or the upper end G5 school having any chance at anything to do with playoff money, because it's not good enough to go to the Holiday Bowl anymore or to go to some, just average rando bowl game anymore. That doesn't really move the needle anymore. You have to get into the college football playoff. And so I love that we've expanded the playoff, but now we're mitigating that by saying two conferences get to control, essentially almost half of who gets in. I mean, that's a struggle. That's difficult. That's not easy. So, yeah, I think college football, generally speaking, is pretty healthy, but I think it could go really negatively if this stuff is not handled correctly.
You think college football is healthy?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, because we're all still talking about it, we're all still obsessing on it, we're all still we're all still driving the cycle. I mean, I think, generally speaking, with sporting leagues, professional or otherwise, you start to get in an unhealthy place when you're not relevant anymore. So, for college football specifically, yeah, I think it's incredibly healthy.
I think we don't know the answer to that question. And I think when we talk about the health and the vitality of college football, one of the biggest questions I have is, what does this expansion contraction game do to the average fan? Because I think there's a large portion of college football fans who are going to love this expansion. It is going to center the power on the Big Ten and the SEC, in my opinion. I do not think this grows the profile of or the power or influence of the ACC. I think it's certainly, this expansion makes the ACC more money, but the center of power in the college football world is the Big Ten and the SEC. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any question about that. And I if it matters or not, I don't know, but I think the ACC becomes the fourth conference even after this expansion, because I still think the Big 12 has raised its profile so significantly that I think its influence now is third. If we put, and I would put it at the SEC 1, especially after expansion, I think the Big 10 is 2. And I think the Big 12 is 3, with the ACC coming in 4th.
Facts.
But here's the problem that I have with this expansion. It is going to alienate anybody that's not at the top of these P4 conferences, because when you look at the Big 10, I have a hard time, and I know that you're going to rail on Lincoln Riley later, but I have a hard time believing that the Big Ten's not going to get 3-4 teams a year into this thing. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time believing that the SEC's not going to get 3 teams into this thing. I have a hard time believing that the ACC's not going to get 2 and maybe 3. Like the real issue is, when do we go from 12 to 16? Because with all of this consolidation, and I call it consolidation, others love to call it expansion, I think the college football power center is shrinking.
Right.
It's not growing, it's shrinking. And I think when you look at these conferences, what are you going to say to the Big 12 when they're boxed out and they can only get their conference champion or maybe another one in there? What if Utah comes in and wins the conference and somehow TCU is left on the outside looking in, or Texas Tech, or whoever? That's going to create significant problems in the college football world. And I also think that the SEC is not going to be boxed out of anything. I think we are headed for more turmoil. I don't think that we're getting more answers necessarily. I think we are getting more opportunity. But I think the only place this goes is you're gonna consolidate to expand. You're not doing ACC expansion, because you want to shrink the ACC. You're doing it to make more money and garner more reach. Mm-hmm. And it does that significantly for the ACC. But does that help the SEC, the Big 10, and the Big 12? It does not. Mm-hmm. But those conferences already have significant revenue and reach.
Well, yeah, and I think the SEC and the Big Ten, we're not going to be talking about 6 teams combined between those two. We're talking about 8 because both of the conference champions are going to be in there, and then they have a good opportunity to send 2 to 3 more each. And I think that, again, it's hard because on one hand I want to say, yeah, it's really unfortunate that these two conferences are going to eat, but ultimately, why do we play the game?
Yeah.
Well, we play the game to win.
That's right.
And I don't know any other way around it, but hey, if you win, you should be rewarded for that. But again, it's not, hey, did TCU have a good season, or Oklahoma, or whoever you want to point to. It's not, hey, did you have a good season? It's, hey, did you put together a resume on paper and on the field that garners national respect? Because again, like Lincoln Riley, I respect him. The guy, Bill Theismann's, he takes you to the playoff, absolutely. But he himself has to take this next level, especially for the Big Ten, because the Big Ten, it's not going to be good enough to just have Ohio State in there every year and then Michigan once every 3. That's not going to be good enough if you want to keep up with the SEC. The Big Ten needs Lincoln Riley to go from being a conference winner and a quarterback maker. He needs to go from that to a national championship contender every single year at USC, as does Oregon, as does Washington. You need those teams to really push your conference forward. I believe that Brett Yormark has that. I believe the Utahs of the world will help push the Big 12 forward. The problem is the SEC's been doing this for years already. The SEC doesn't need to change anything. The SEC doesn't need to go to the Pacific time zone. They have everything they need, and they've had it for, 20 years? That's the issue when we talk about expansion, or, as I agree, consolidation is what it should be called.
Yeah, and the other part of this that I think is so fascinating is the impact that ESPN had on this process with the ACC, because I think there was clearly a change. Saturday is when I first started hearing about this. There was clearly a change in what Florida State was asking for. And I think at some point, Florida State had to recognize that them singularly getting a larger piece of the revenue pie in the ACC was not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And I think Florida State pushed and pushed until they recognized that there was no way forward for them. There was no path forward because, A, they're not in demand as a brand. They are not. They are not in demand in the ACC. People don't view them, from what my sources are telling me, people don't view Florida State as an integral part of the ACC. And I understand that. I completely understand that. I think it was ESPN making it known that they were talking to the Big 12 about potentially adding Stanford and Cal. And I don't believe, as we've talked about on this show, I don't believe that the Big 12 ever entertained it. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to go to 20 teams. Nobody. And if you add 4 teams from the Pac-12, you're going to 20. If you had 2, you're at 18. Your flexibility is gone.
Yeah.
And I don't believe for a second that the Big 12 was ever going to add Stanford and Cal. And we've talked about this. I don't believe that the politics, as much as I don't believe the politics of Stanford and Cal fit in the ACC, they do not. They certainly do not fit in the Big 12.
Well, and I think brand for brand, Stanford and Cal fit better in the ACC, just generally speaking. And I think that nobody really likes to talk about it, and we're not here to have some long, winded political conversation.
Yeah,
wrong show, right? We're not trying to have that conversation. But the reality of the situation is that politics do come into play when you're talking about California schools. It just is what it is, and specifically Northern California. There are beliefs and certain things thought, and that came into play with ACC expansion, no doubt about it. But again, as we continue to see in college football, the urgency to survive far outweighs what you think of somebody, and that's why I say I think that Stanford and Cal getting into the ACC, and again, I know it's not official, it's not done yet, but we're heading that direction.
Yeah.
That kind of movement taking place shows you how desperate the ACC is to fortify their ranks, because they understand that they're not going to have UNC and Duke forever. They're not going to have Clemson forever. Like I legitimately think that there is a belief that, hey, like 5 years from now, we don't know exactly where we're going to be. We don't know where the college football landscape and, college athletic landscape will be in 5 years. So we need to add, what we can, because we're not the SEC. We're not the Big Ten. We're not the Big 12 right now. We are the ACC, and we are valuable, and we do put on a damn good basketball conference, but we don't put on a great football conference right now, and we're working on that. So let's fortify and do everything that we can do to continue to keep our P5 status if UNC, Duke, Clemson, and Florida State leave, and maybe Miami.
But again, this touches on UConn.
Yeah.
This is why the Big 12 was not interested in UConn as a full member. This is, again, why I think that you're looking at the power of college football. You are watching it unfold before your eyes. And I think this is a game changer, man. This is flexibility going forward, because I think the Big 12, one of the glaring holes in their mission statement, they did not add a fourth time zone. They did not get to the Pacific time zone. No matter what you think of Arizona time, they did not get to the Pacific time zone, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're in a predicament there. And I also think that basketball is every single day becoming more and more imperative when it comes to athletic department revenues. And I think the ACC is acting wisely. There's nothing wrong with right now adding Stanford and Cal. If you are going to leave them out there for a decade, that's not going to work. Mm-hmm. But if in 3 to 5 years you're going to go and pick up other West Coast teams, I think you're acting in a very fine fashion. The biggest question I have now, is what happens to Oregon State and Washington State? Because as we reported exclusively on the show Friday, Gloria Navarez crushed it in her calls and meetings with Oregon State and Washington State. They were both very impressed with her and the presentation she made with the conference. Gloria, the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference.
Unreal.
Now, Mike Oresco is going to take his swing here,
right?
Which I'm told is today and tomorrow. But I don't think there's any doubt now that Oregon State and Washington State are next. And that is going to be the final nail in the death of the Pac-12. And I believe that this is what the other four conferences wanted.
Yeah, well, and I think that the Pac-12 is obviously an example of what can happen. It's obviously an example of what you don't want to happen to your conference. And I think, the other thing that I feel like nobody ever talks about with what happened in the Pac-12 is the value of having a savvy commissioner. Because again, and a lot of people criticize George Kliavkoff, me being one of them. I don't like the job he did. But I just don't think that he was a strong enough personality to be a commissioner in a power conference. And I think that folks like Gloria Navarez and Mike Oresco come around and they say, okay, well, a power conference just died and we have the opportunity to truly be valuable to power teams. Let's start pushing the ball forward. Let's show them what a quality commissioner can look like. Because if you think that a power conference isn't going to change commissioners in the next 10 years, you're out of your mind. And I think there's some of that comes into play. Like for Gloria Navarez, you want to come into this conversation, into this meeting room, and you want to say, hey, dude, this is the Mountain West. We're in a great place. This is what we have to offer. And by the way, I'm not going to be an incompetent commissioner that can't, have good relationships with our TV partners. And yes, not all of that was on George. A lot of that was on the presidents wanting $50 a year because they talked to some professor at their school and somehow that professor came up with that crazy-ass calculation. But ultimately, we see the value of Greg Sankey. We see the value of Brett Yormark, right? You see the value of these commissioners, Tony Petitti, in expansion, what they're able to get done.
And their experience.
Yeah.
Because Brett Yormark comes from entertainment. Tony Petitti in the Big Ten comes from entertainment, NBC, television. I think it's the future. And I look at a power brand like Oregon. Oregon was not going to rest its future on George Kliavkoff.
Yeah, they know better.
It was just not going to happen. And you add Oregon and Washington with USC and UCLA, the Big Ten can withstand that kind of addition, because you add four former partners in the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, they can't help but have some unity as much as they disagree and as much as USC wanted to own the West Coast. You're going to have some level of unity with those four universities. My bigger question and the thing that I think is really important, and I think it is significant here, who's the next power brand to move?
Yeah.
And is there another power brand left? Because I look at this situation, is anybody paying attention to what's going on at San Diego State?
Yep.
This is, and I don't know. I have been hard on San Diego State. I understand I've been critical of San Diego State. You had 16,000 people show up for your opening game.
No.
And your athletic director, J.D. Wicker, went hat in hand via email asking alums and donors to bring their friends, family, and neighbors to the game. Your brand new palace of a football stadium, Snapdragon Stadium, holds 35,000 fans. You had 16, and you barely won the game. And I can't help but believe that San Diego State is suffering from the Pac-12 style of management that we have seen for the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, you're asking people to believe, San Diego State, that you're a P5 at the time level program.
Right.
And you got 16,000 people to night one of your football program in 2023. And you want the quote-unquote pro rata you deserve, which is what Adela De La Torre, the president at San Diego State, said. The pro rata we deserve.
Right.
You brought 16,000 folks to the barn. And my point is, this is what happens when you just wade into very deep waters and you don't know how to swim. San Diego State has crippled themselves as a brand. And I think it's resonating through their fan base. I think you were telling me, looking at the attendance numbers, they've never had 35,000 fans there.
Yeah, Snapdragon Stadium obviously has been in existence for about 2 years or so, give or take. And they've never sold it out. And you know, on San Diego State football, obviously. And I think that the tough part is I really do feel like in college athletics, specifically college football, dude, you got to do your talking through performance. And at a G5 level where San Diego State is, that doesn't mean you got to win a national championship, right? Like, just so we're all on the same page. You don't have to win a national championship.
No, you don't.
All you got to do is be 9-10, and if you're insane, 11 wins. Go ham on your schedule, and whatever happens in the playoff happens. But you got to show the big boys that, hey, they're dominating the lower tier. What would they do against a power?
But I don't
slate?
even think it's that. I don't even think it's. Don't be an idiot. Like, you look at San Diego State. I laugh because I can't believe the letter they wrote to the Mountain West to withdraw, but never withdrew, and then asked for a loan and terms and the pro rata we deserve, and we're going somewhere, but we wound up nowhere. And who wants San Diego? Who wants to do business with the people at San Diego State?
Yeah, and I think when you're out publicly trying to disparage Dennis Dodd, you know, I think that's an unfortunate look as well. And I think, you know, it just is. Yeah, you know, look, the topic of the show today is not to disparage San Diego State, but I think they haven't done themselves any favors, and I think they're laying in the bed that they made. And
this is the culture of college football, though, not college sports, not college basketball. What's happening to San Diego State with 16,000 fans on opening night? Nobody cares about your program because you failed miserably.
Because it's garbage.
San Diego State will toil under the leadership, or lack thereof, of J.D. Wicker and Adela De La Torre.
Yeah, I agree.
Until they are not there anymore. And it's the same thing we're seeing across the country at Northwestern. This situation at Michigan. Did anybody see the offensive coordinator today at Michigan was suspended for week 1? Recruiting violations. Did you guys hear Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State in what I can only what I can only think is one of the most remarkable media sessions I have ever seen. The head coach at Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, met with the media and was immediately asked about the 1-year self-imposed bowl ban. This is the single greatest rant that I think I have seen in the last 5 years from a football coach. And god damn, I wish he was the head coach at Notre Dame.
I knew today would be shitty. I mean, they receive horrible news on a Tuesday practice in the morning before we meet for special teams. So to think that 18 and 22-year-olds are going to go out and have a good Tuesday practice is absolutely delusional. But I think the guys battled. The guys did the best they could do. I was informed this morning at 6:30 a.m. How did you find out? I met with Ray Anderson. Nobody cares about your circumstance. In reality, most people in life would rather see other people fail so they don't have to work hard and to actually work hard enough to beat them. So everybody looks at this and like, oh great, Arizona State's not going to be motivated anymore. That's a win. That's how the majority of the world thinks, is nobody wants to work hard to achieve success. They want to bring other people down lower than them, and they can do the exact same work ethic. So people are looking at us and they're satisfied. They're singing for joy. They're excited because they think there's no way Arizona State football is going to be able to keep their mindset to compete. And that's the challenge, is it's us versus us every day. Oh, it's not great, especially on a Tuesday for practice, but it is what it is. And like I told the guys, we can't control it. Like, you can't control it. Not one person in the country feels bad for us.
Stay hard.
Is there anybody who doesn't want that man to coach their football team?
Dude.
I'm a Notre Dame fan. You guys know that. We, because I'm the 56th guy on the roster.
Here we go.
We won 42-3 over in Dublin. And let me tell you, the beer was flowing after the game. Me and the boys hung out. I don't even know who Marcus Freeman is while I'm watching that video, because Kenny Dillingham got it right.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I love everything about it. And the worst part of that was him saying, not that we are ineligible for a bowl for a year, but that he had to meet with Ray Anderson, the worst athletic director in college athletics today.
I knew today would be shitty.
At 6:30 in the morning. I mean, it is the state of college athletics. You are a have or you are a have-not. There is no in between. Arizona State's a have-not. San Diego State's a have-not. Alabama's a have. Alabama and this damn right, this contrived controversy about Nick Saban not releasing a depth chart.
I agree,
for the first time in 17 years.
This is some
Holy
schemers
cow.
drama. We need to make something
Nick
up.
Saban is just toying with the media. The Death Star in Tuscaloosa. Why does he owe you a depth chart? As long as it's released by kickoff, why does he owe you a depth chart? Should we get the yardarm out for Kyle Whittingham, who refused to talk about the health of his quarterback and his best offensive weapon, and Brant Keithy today, or Cam Rising, his quarterback today?
It is what it is.
Oh my God, the Death Star of Kyle Whittingham! How dare you? Shut up. Like, seriously. It's a depth chart. Who cares?
Well, and I think
Who cares?
The answer that the old Sabanator gave was perfect. I don't need to we don't need to put it on paper, because all that does is cause distractions in the program. And I have to say, I completely agree. I want my guys busting their ass all the way to the first snap, bro.
So let's release a depth chart. And here, let me hold the door for you while you head for the transfer portal. Why would he do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Milroe's your starting quarterback. If you can't see that, and if that doesn't happen, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I will actually trim my own toenails if that happens.
Ow!
I'm not sure, because I am the least flexible human ever. But my point is, he knows. They know. But why on earth in this world of scoundrels are we releasing depth charts early when you're Alabama and all eyes are on Tuscaloosa?
Yeah,
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary.
You've got Florida raked over the hurricane coals currently. The Florida Gators. Right? Gators.
Gainesville. Nice
Gators.
documentary, bud.
Right? So let me get this right. You have a hurricane coming, and they do, multiple. You're going to fly to Dallas tomorrow morning.
Tarrant County.
You're going to stay in Tarrant County for 2 days, and then you're going to fly to Utah. Now, listen, you guys, I understand this. I'm just little old Monty, the talk show host. Could afford to lose a couple pounds there, fat ass. Look, I'm on board with that. Let me ask you something. If you play at sea level,
hey, y'all.
Quite literally in Florida, they're at sea level, and you have to leave for your game Mile High in Salt Lake City almost a week early because of a hurricane, you're going to go and stay in Tarrant County.
Tarrant County, Jerry World, Skeeters.
Why don't you just come to Salt Lake City 4 days early?
Excellent strategy, sir.
And help your kids assimilate, because you're about to get thumped.
Yeah.
Bro, you're about to get thumped.
Here's the game plan.
This ain't Snapdragon. There's going to be
why'd you have to go there,
50,000 rabid Utah fans and like 4 Gator fans who are going to be at Rice Eccles on Thursday night, and they're looking to stomp your face.
I'm Shiva, the god of death.
You're not winning that game.
No, you're not.
And Brant Keithy and Cam Rising are playing. This college football's not difficult. Let's just drink some buckshot on the Monty Show.
Hey, Monty?
Presented by our good friends at Bucked Up Energy. Join me, won't you?
Us. 2 O's and Bucked Up.
2 O's and we. I found the weakness in buckshot. It does not make you a better golfer.
What?
Now, currently, I am playing terrible golf. Jake had a win. Controversy
Yeah,
on the Monty
It's
Show.
the par 3. You don't want to give me credit. Whatever, dude.
I actually
Whatever.
celebrated when it went in the hole.
My fucking ass.
He did, actually. That's true.
20 or what? 30 years ago when it went in the hole,
Right.
I celebrated.
Right.
Do you know what that's like these
So
days?
we're playing a golf course, par 3. Jake puts a 9-iron or whatever it was.
It
Up
was a
on,
50-degree wedge. Thank you very much.
puts a wedge up onto the green. We both watch it land. We're like, hey, nice shot, bro, within 5 feet.
Yeah, no, never a thought. I honestly, never a thought
It was
that
not
was
a home
going
run.
in. Yeah.
Now, I, who have a broken shaft on my pitching wedge, Jesus, I pull out a pitching wedge, and I hit a 60-yard shot that goes like 30 yards.
Because it's garbage.
And being the guy that I am, knowing that I am Eldrick Tiger Monty Woods,
Right.
look at the pitching wedge like, why did you do that? Well, that's because the graphite shaft is splintered. So it's broken. So the buckshot's not going to help you when you have a broken shaft.
Yeah, it's all about the shaft.
We get up to the green. The ball's in the hole for Jake. It was so windy, it blew the ball into the hole.
I'm for real.
I called it a hole-in-one.
Yeah.
The Utah PGA says it's not. That's a
Technically,
two.
it's a 2.
It's a 2.
It's
you
a
prick.
2.
Yeah, I'll cut your toe off, then it'll be 1.
Yeah, you have 7 seconds for the ball to go in the hole.
Get buckshot, get bucked up, get to buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty20 to get 20% off your purchase at checkout. And I'll tell you what, guys, I am amazed. Why is
What happened?
somebody is texting me?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Let me get through this real quick, and then we'll read this text. Buckedup.com. The thing I love about buckshot, I take it golfing with me, and I just feel better. I play better. I had a 6-hole run on Sunday that was phenomenal. Drove the ball really well for like 6 straight drives. I mean, it all went to shit after that, but that's not really the point. Had one of my worst rounds of the year. That's not really the point. Shot an 89, including a 6 on the par 3 he had an alleged hole-in-one on. That's not really the point.
I guess not.
The point is, I didn't have a headache. I had mental clarity, and I still played like shit. That's not Buckshot's fault. Buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty25 or Monty20 to get 20% off at purchase. Breaking ACC news for you. Now, I don't generally do this, but this particular source right here is the best source we have. Hey, Monty, wanted to let you know the ACC meeting tonight is canceled. There is a situation on the campus at North Carolina. There's been a shooting,
Jesus.
and they are postponing all conference business until there's a resolution. Wow. I did not, and I apologize, I did not see. Apparently there is a shooting on the campus at North Carolina. And they are delaying the ACC expansion vote tonight. Obviously this is, let's just look it up. This is a serious situation going on in Chapel Hill, apparently. Wow. Let's see.
Yeah, apparently there was an active shooter.
Oh, yeah, goodness gracious. There are students jumping out of windows to safety because there is a shooting. This is a serious situation. Apparently the person is in custody on the campus at North Carolina. A staff member was killed in the shooting. Boy, this is rough. So all campus business has been canceled. And so this meeting tonight has been canceled.
Wild.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, there's no way to make light of that, nor should we. That is a very serious situation going on in North Carolina. So no ACC expansion tonight.
Yeah.
And I am certain that ACC expansion is far less important than the lives of the people and certainly one of the faculty members at Chapel Hill who were lost today. So you cannot make this stuff up.
No, I mean, it's
wild.
It's obviously there's no way to predict or prepare for, an active shooter in this sense. And it's a real shame because again, different show, not having the conversation in totality, but the whole active shooter thing is tough, dude. It is an in the moment, have to respond right now type deal. And I think that, I would expect nothing less. I agree. Handling that is far more important than.
Boy, that is a tragedy in North Carolina. So I am not a believer that thoughts and prayers do anything. But, boy, that's rough.
Yeah.
That is rough. And I see some of the comments, you guys. I'm not fucking today. Let's not make light of people dying.
Yeah.
Let's not do that, please. It's not funny. And I'm not going to read your comments about it. So please have some respect for the people who lost their lives today. That's a big deal. But let's move on and let's keep talking about ACC expansion with our newest member, Douglas McMartin.
Let's go, baby. Douglas. Dougie.
Hell of a way to kick off the comment section today. Appreciate you guys. In all seriousness, if you're new to the show, please give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber, we have 3 days to really do the impossible.
Yeah, for real.
We had wanted to get to 25,000 before kickoff. We have steamrolled past that.
Right.
We're looking for 2,568 subscribers before kickoff Thursday night between Utah and Florida.
Yeah.
Appreciate all of you. Our membership, you guys, you can be a member for $1.99. That gets your comment highlighted in red. You can be a member for $9.99. That gets you in our Instagram members only group. And I think anybody in the comments section will tell you that the membership group on Instagram is phenomenal. We all spent significant quality time this morning piling on Tanner Plummer for his obsessive, almost, I'm not going to say deranged, but.
Yeah, but I mean,
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I got to say, I think so. He loves Donovan McNabb. And I let's move on.
That's an issue.
Look, it's Syracuse. Nobody wants to pile on Syracuse. Well, I mean, nobody likes it's
Donnie, please.
See, Jim Boeheim. You get it. Also a new member of the show, Mike Smith. Look at you.
Mike.
We've converted you.
Okay, baby.
Let's go, Mike. Good
Mike.
to see you. Hey, my guy and donuts with a $10 tip to lead us off. Imagine the Big 12 having 6 X-Pac team voting. It'll never happen. And donuts, I think this is a really, really good point.
Yeah.
I mean, a phenomenally good point. I think when you look at the Big 10, and we had multiple sources tell us one of the main reasons Stanford and Cal were not invited to the Big 10 was because of politics and voting shares.
Yep.
There was real concern. Gene Smith at Ohio State, I was told by sources, had real concerns about changing the culture of the Big Ten and really the executive room, the meetings, the conversations, the relationships.
Yeah.
By adding 4 of those members in addition to USC and UCLA, which would bring it to 6. And I got to say, I agree with that. I think it's smart. If you are the Big Ten, I would think you would be looking at these 4 new members from the Pac-12 and saying, hey, look, you're lucky to be here, dude. And USC and Oregon are going to be like, well, hey, by the way, have you ever seen my middle finger? Like, if I'm Oregon and USC, that's my attitude. But if you're Cal and Stanford, you're like, well, hey, we're I don't know if you guys know this. Look, it's nice to meet you. My name's Stanford, and I look like a tree, and I have a much larger brain than you do. I'm way smarter than you are. Yeah. Like, that's... I think it's a pragmatic move, and then donuts, as usual, a really good point.
Yeah.
I think that is a really good point. By the way, I also think that's why the Big 12 wanted nothing to do with Oregon State and Washington State, Stanford and Cal.
Right.
I think that was never a starter. I think ESPN used that conversation to prove a point.
Yeah.
And point proven. Point proven.
Yep.
But I don't think, and I want to say it was Brett McMurphy, somebody tweeted, Brett McMurphy, I think it was, said they never spoke to Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, and Washington State in the Big 12. I know that to be true. We told you last week, we didn't say Stanford, Cal, Oregon State, Washington State were talking to the Big 12.
Yeah.
What have we reported on this show? ESPN has been lobbying the Big 12 and trying to open up a line of communication to say, hey, as a fallback position, and ESPN was willing to kick in more money. That does not mean that the Big 12 was interested.
Right.
Aaron Gillespie for $10. Why not seed the college football playoff based on record? That helps other conferences. Oh, and your 10-2 SEC team, tough luck. That's why it won't happen.
Yeah.
And it's twofold. Okay, so if you're a P4, you're getting a member of the college football playoff in. You're in your conference championship. Those guys are in. The question becomes, what happens to the remaining 8 spots? Well, one's going in the G5. Okay, so now you're down to 5. I think you're going to go with the highest. I think you're going to go with the next highest 5 teams.
Yeah.
And the problem is, look at Georgia's schedule this year. That's a problem.
I think that the reason, though, that they want to go with they want to basically allow the committee to control those last 5 is because ultimately, what do you want? Control. You want to be able to say, okay, if we can keep the system as close to it is now, we know for a fact, even in an expanded college football playoff, that LSU is going to have a stronger resume than a potential, low-end SEC or low-end Big 10 or Big 12 team, right? We know that Ole Miss is going to try and contend. We know that in the Big 10, we know that Michigan's going to have a place, right? Basically every single year.
Yes.
So the idea for the SEC and the Big 10 is not to just auto-bid everything. That's not what they want. What they want is, hey, yeah, P4 conference champions and 1 G5. Okay, great. But ultimately what you want is you want to create an environment where the system favors the resume and gives the big boys the ability to say, hey, we played a big boy schedule. The G5 that's undefeated can go F itself because we're a power schedule.
Hey, Cincinnati, thanks for coming.
Yeah, exactly.
We're the Lions. We're just here to feast on the zebras.
Yeah, that's it. You can take your little hyena ass out of here.
That's exactly what it is. And I think you are never going to tell the Big Ten and the SEC that, yeah, guys, we just want your conference champion, because that's never going to be good enough. Yeah, we got to get Waxahachie Technical Institute of Rocket Engine Building. They went undefeated this year in their pickleball league. We got to give them a college football playoff
what are you
spot.
talking about, man?
Not going to happen, dude.
I also think this brings in that conversation because, remember, we're 2 days away from the College Football Playoff Committee meeting.
Yeah.
And what does that mean? That means there's going to be lobbying because there's a massive G5 presence in the committees and on the College Football Playoff Committee.
If you ain't first, you're last.
There's going to be a massive amount of lobbying for those G5 spots. And it's going to be simply a matter of how many conference games are you guys going to play? Oh, you don't want to give the G5 a spot? Yeah, I'm going to have to vote for 10 conference games. Oh, you want to give us an at-large bid? Oh, you guys are the best. How about we do 9? That's what this is going to be.
Yep.
Because if you're a G5, you have to fight for your place at the table. And how do you do that? It's the scales of justice, dude. You don't want to give the G5 a spot? The problem is we have votes. You're going to play 10 fucking conference games in the SEC and in the Big Ten. Imagine Murderers Row in the Big Ten. As much as that conference has been overrated for years, and it has, right?
Yeah.
I think we all agree that the Big Ten has been overrated for years. Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State added to SC, Oregon, Washington, and UCLA. That's not a cupcake anymore.
No.
And if you're going to make those boys run their faces into each other, what's that going to do? That's going to knock people out of the playoff. Ask the Pac-12 for the last 10 years, who have routinely, it's Jake's example of the hyena. They have been lions feasting on lions because they've been playing each other. Look at the Pac-12 this year. You think SC is a sure bet? Not in the Pac-12, you're not. Look at Utah playing Florida on Thursday.
Do you view this season as a failure?
Look at Kyle Whittingham. Did anybody see Kyle Whittingham's comment about the BYU-Utah rivalry over the weekend? When he said, a reporter said, well, it's back forever now. And Kyle Whittingham said, yeah, no, it's not. Because we know that we're going to play him the next few years in conference, but in 5 years, everything's going to change again.
Which is precisely why the ACC is behaving the way the ACC is behaving.
And I'm telling you guys, if you believe that Georgia's going to be able to play this BS schedule they're playing this year, and they're just going to get a free pass a la Ohio State and Michigan into the college football playoff, that's coming to an end. Because the G5s are not going to give Georgia a spot and take nothing. Because Georgia, and largely Michigan too. That all changes in 2024. Because of conference realignment, you're adding Oklahoma and Texas. If you think that you're going to get extra votes on the College Football Playoff Committee from the G5, if you're Georgia, yes, better have Alabama, and you better have Texas and Oklahoma on that schedule. And you better have, if Lane Train, or you better beat the top 5 teams in the SEC.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you think the G5 doesn't matter, because they have a seat at the table and they have a voice.
Well, and I think the point is, if you're a G5, hey, we have to grind our ass off. You want us to play as hard a schedule as we can possibly muster up.
That's right.
Where is your 10 games and where is your schedule difficulty? Because we're not talking, it's not just about the number of games. And this is what the SEC and the Big Ten have been hiding behind for a decade. Oh, well, we're playing 8 conference games. What do you mean? Even though we've got some, cakewalk for the first month. Wow, we're playing 8 conference games. What are you talking about? And it's like, yeah, dude, you're playing 8 conference games, 3 of which are even a challenge. So
that's a bill of goods, dude.
Yeah, like your season doesn't even really start until you were getting to the college football playoff.
Man, let me tell you here, Clemson, we've got hey, you guys didn't play Florida State this year. God, but we've got
Clemson. Hey, Clemson.
We've got Georgia. Well, I mean, listen, Georgia Technical Institute. Have you seen that wing T bullshit?
Program.
Well, that's not the word I meant to use. I mean, Georgia Tech's a good program.
We built this program on NIL.
You can't spin it anymore.
No.
You either played a schedule or you didn't. If Clemson and Florida State don't run into each other every year, you have to play the best of the best. I could go on. I won't. Because, frankly, it's time for football at 50, 10 of the hour, every hour on the Monty Show. You guys, let's run it down. Excuse my cough. I was telling somebody today, and I thought I had licked it. Not probably the best wordage I've ever used.
That probably came out wrong.
I thought I had gotten over this cough. The post-nasal drip is for reals, yo. Football 50, 10 of the hour, every hour, presented by Papa Murphy's Pizza. Promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. Breaking news out of the ACC just about an hour ago. The meeting scheduled for tonight amongst presidents and chancellors to talk about ACC expansion has been canceled in light of a tragic campus shooting where a professor was murdered on campus at UNC in Chapel Hill. It was a tough day. Obviously, you had students jumping out of second-floor windows to escape the shooter who is in custody, but there are fatalities. It is a tough day in Chapel Hill. They have canceled the meeting tonight, and they have not rescheduled it, and really, who cares at this point? It's likely to be done. Whether that's today, it won't be. Whether that's Friday, hey, great. Today is not about ACC expansion. Unfortunately, this tragedy in Chapel Hill on the campus at North Carolina is going to overshadow all of the news. Another tough day, but our sources have been talking to us. We are in tune. Coming up in 6 minutes right here on the Monty Show, we will recap all of your ACC expansion news, the latest headlines, all the details right here on the Monty Show. We'll have that for you coming up. Couple of stories we got to get to on football at 50. In the NFL, have you guys been keeping up with this situation with the Arizona Cardinals? They cut Colt McCoy today, who was probably going to be their starting quarterback. Kyler Murray, verticality is where we call him on this show. Little dude. Hey, little dude.
Hey, little buddy.
He is on the PUP, physically unable to perform list. He'll be out for the first 4 weeks of the season, coming back from an ACL. So, yeah, we traded for Josh Dobbs. We're going to play him instead of Colt McCoy, who will actually win us games.
Right.
Are you on that train? Do you believe the Arizona Cardinals are tanking?
1,000%. You traded offensive linemen, you traded Isaiah Simmons, a really good linebacking talent for you. Like, you're trading talent, and you're trading it away for low-end value, which tells me you're tanking for Caleb Williams, and it tells me that Kyler Murray hasn't worked out. And let's not forget the Kyler Murray experiment, right? You had drafted a quarterback. He didn't work out. Josh Rosen didn't work out. So what'd you do then? You gave him 1 year with Vance Joseph. Then you fired Josh Rosen. You fired Vance Joseph. You got Cliff Kingsbury. You moved up in the draft irresponsibly to get who you thought was the Jesus Christ of all quarterbacks under Lincoln Riley.
No, we know that's Sam. We know that's Sam Hartman at Notre Dame.
Right. Good talk. Right. So you go out and get the savior known as the little guy Kyler Murray, who has been nothing but a red ass and a pain in your ass in the locker room, hasn't lived up to it, looks lost against the Detroit Lions last year. Then, this offseason, what'd you do? You fired your front office and Steve Keim, Mr. 18 beers in a Ford Raptor that almost killed somebody. Then you fired him. You brought in someone who totally changed the culture, who the players are having trouble marrying up to, and now you want to tell me that you're going to roll over your quarterback? This is exactly who you've always been, and this is why you'll always be a 4-win team.
No, Caleb Williams is going to look great in a Cardinal uniform. That black uniform with the red flake helmet.
I know that USC has put out a plethora of quality NFL quarterbacks.
Don't do it.
But
don't do it.
Come on, dude.
Okay, listen, he's no Carson Palmer, but he could absolutely be Matt Leinart, lefty.
Sanchez was incredible.
Hey, look, that butt fumble once in a lifetime from a USC quarterback, quite literally. My point is here, Caleb Williams is going to suck in the NFL, so why not put him on the Arizona Cardinals?
Why not make Cardinal fans drive their ass all the way out to Glendale to see a 3.5 win product?
I mean, the nail painting.
Yeah.
We're going to let that happen here in Arizona because we're all about freedoms and stuff. We don't want to win games. That's why Cliffy works at USC, but we don't want to win games. Dude, this is tanking at its finest, and do not tell me that Caleb Williams doesn't wind up on that team. By the way, how'd you like Caleb Williams in USC this weekend? Jake promised you. He said he'd give everybody $1,000 if USC didn't cover. Just go ahead and send him your Jake is texting me on Saturday. Lincoln Riley's an asshole.
What did I say? Because now I wonder, because I was pissed. What did I say? I just want to look this up really quick.
USC.
What did I say?
So my wife is trying to go to bed because she did a triathlon on Saturday. a sprint triathlon. And I'm watching the SC game.
So it's 9 o'clock on Saturday
and they're
night.
falling apart. They're
You
not
texted
going
me.
to cover.
You texted me at 9:09 during the SC game. SC about to cover your 31. I sent, if you look in your iPhone or your Android, there's a GIF of a monkey holding money that's smiling. I replied to that. And then at 9:19, what did I text? Not 10 minutes later, what did I text? 56 points on offense, giving up 28 points to San Jose State is an utter embarrassment out of Lincoln Riley and this squad.
I walk in the office after lunch today, and Jake's got a video of the USC defensive line against San Jose State. He's like, this is why we didn't cover. This is why we didn't cover the 31.
This
You
is why
sons
we
of
can't have
bitches.
nice things. This is why Lincoln Riley is average.
Fight
when it comes
on,
to winning,
baby.
dude.
Fight on, baby.
This is why. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, it's just San Jose State. Yeah. Is it just going to be, what, Texas or whoever the hell they're playing? Is it just going to be the Nevada Wolfpack or the Stanford Tree or Kenny Dillingham and his pissed off, attitude at his media availability
Notre Dame,
today?
our mother.
Yeah, for real, dude. Like, when is Lincoln Riley actually going to be like, yeah,
my God.
San Jose State's the same as, let's say, Washington or Utah or Oregon or next year Ohio State? Like, I'm tired of this dude having a 60-point offense and a 30-point
I hate
defense,
Lincoln Riley.
dude. The guy is...
I hate him.
It's just ridiculous.
What an asshole.
What an asshole.
Bob 50. 10 of the hour every hour, presented by our good friends at Papa Murphy's Pizza.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do meatballs and marinara.
Papa Murphy's does meatballs?
Oh, I think you mean I do the meatballs and marinara?
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it? How do I do it?
Oh, well, we do it with savory ground beef
Covered in tangy marinara. That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
And don't forget the meatballs.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Papa Murphy's Pizza presents football at 50, 10 of the hour every hour on The Monty Show. The official pizza of The Monty Show is Papa Murphy's Pizza. Make sure you download the app. By the way, I see that many of you are like, who cares? I'm a San Jose State. Well, Jake had put some ducats on the 31 to cover it, even though me, the sex machine, told him not to do that. I told you, take Notre Dame to cover. Did we cover?
Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
Notre Dame covered. Because Sam Hartman's going to win the Heisman Trophy.
I actually think he's got a chance.
Notre Dame is going to win the national championship. Pray for us. They're going to win the national championship. I'm telling you right now.
You ought to know. You bought it.
I am telling you right now. Notre Dame's winning the whole thing. USC? Nah, bro. They didn't cover the 31 in their first game of the year where they were all on cruise control in the fourth quarter. Can you? I walk in here and he's like, look at this. I hadn't even finished digesting my food.
Because it's garbage.
At this lovely, lovely turkey sandwich at Jersey Mike's.
I'll try to stay calm and not curse.
I walk in here and he's like flipping around his MacBook. You look at this.
That's what fucking ticks me the fuck off.
Do you want to know why I hate Lincoln Riley?
Bro.
Look at this fucking guy.
Look at this
and he
guy,
shows
number
me this
7.
this
Bro,
D lineman.
Number 7, Quali Conley. Yeah, I haven't heard of him either. 6 carries, 108 yards, and you don't think that's a problem? Come on now, dude.
And he shows me a video of a USC defensive lineman like trying to one-hand grab the guy by the back.
What did I hear going into this game? Oh, it's San Jose State. They're going to run triple option. It's going to be
amazing.
No,
what we heard was the
incredible.
defense at SC was far improved.
Yeah,
this isn't the same Lincoln Riley defense.
Yeah, it is.
And it turns out in the third quarter against. You can't give up 100 yards rushing to anybody from San Jose State.
I would be fine with it, dude. I would be fine with it if it was like, hey, dude, it was a halfback pitch and they got outside on you and everything was awesome.
You were just so mad about it.
That's not what it was, dude. They ran right through the left side of the line. The defense even set the edge properly, and you still couldn't tackle, buddy. And then to make things even worse, because I want to growl more, you let him break you off for 25. Like, come on. Damn.
You're so fucked.
And then the guy turns up the sideline, and there's 3 SC DBs there. None of them hit him. They let him run out of bounds.
Jackasses. And then later in the year, and you guys remember this, later in the year, it'll be Oregon, and SC will lose by 5, and we'll be like, no, it's no problem.
Yep.
They were at Autzen, and it's Autzen, and they, yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever.
Yep.
My fucking ass.
Notre Dame covered. Sam Hartman's a star.
Whatever. He
By
looked
the way,
really good, dude.
But Sam Hartman looked really good.
Yeah,
40.
he did.
I said 42-3.
Notre Dame, our mother.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
42-3.
Right? It's not 56-28. No, it's 42-3. And again, I'm with you, right? Your boy Marcus, not proven. What'd he do though? Went over to Ireland, right? Handled the travel.
First of all, it's Ireland.
And you had your beers. You showed up for the game. You played your ass off. Your quarterback looked good.
Wholesale ass.
Now you're going to come back with expectations.
Wing team. Wishbone wing T. 3 backs. We're going to run all over you. Yeah, how'd that work out? The only thing that worries me, Audric Estime. Now, listen, I'm just Monty, the talk show host.
Yeah,
I get
I
it.
know.
Well, hey, Monty.
Hey, Monty.
Look, I'm a talk show host. I'm not a running back.
Right.
You shouldn't fumble the ball. When you fumbled a bunch last year and they said, hey, probably shouldn't fumble the ball, you're like, okay, won't fumble, coach.
Yeah, him and Lincoln have something in common,
I think his third carry. No, Lincoln's far worse. I think his third carry, Audric Estime. Yeah, let's carry your elbow. Let's get your elbow detached like you're Monty trying to swing a golf club, right? Like, why would we swing connected? Why would we run the football with the elbow inside so that when they hit down on the ball, it would hit your breasticle? No, you run with your elbow away so the ball comes out, and then what happens, Audric? Yeah, we're going to sit you down for like 10 snaps.
Idiot.
Audric Estime, my ass. Anyway.
All right, good talk.
There you go. All right, hour number 2 of the Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at TryDayTrading.com. TryDayTrading.com. You guys stop complaining about your job. Another massive story today. Another tech company forcing their employees back to the office. RTO, return to off, RTO, whatever they call it. Return to office.
Than RPO.
They said return to office or you're fired. Another massive tech company today. To which I say, hey, if you're one of those people and you're tired of working in the office or being told to go back to the office, you guys get to TryDayTrading.com. They have a 30-day trial membership for a $10 charitable donation. You make that $10 charitable donation, they give you their entire platform for 30 days. Experiment. Work with your coach. That's right. You get a coach, a personal day trading coach that teaches you everything you need to know about their processes, their systems. You win at day trading by getting in and getting out and understanding the philosophy that TryDay Trading uses that's made so many of their graduates prolific day traders. Did you know that their average full-time day traders who graduate at TryDayTrading.com, they make $1,000 a day. That's $240,000 a year to baseline. Why are you going back to the office? Why don't you work for yourself at home, in the home you've always dreamed of? TryDayTrading.com. All you want to do it part-time? How about $200, $300, $500 a day? How about $100,000 a year for a side hustle? Pay off your car. Pay off your mortgage. Get out of it early. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Tell them you heard about it on The Monty Show. Guys, let's get you caught up on all the latest news. A terrible situation in North Carolina has impacted ACC expansion. A tragic shooting at the Chapel Hill campus, North Carolina. A professor is dead. Others are wounded in a shooting that saw students jumping out of second-floor windows just weeks into the school season. Tragically, again, a professor is dead, and ACC expansion is on hold because the ACC is going to freeze all operations until that situation, I don't know, as the word normalizes, at least calms down in Chapel Hill. And there's been no, from what our sources are telling us, there's been no reset of this meeting. It could be 3-4 days. It could be tomorrow. We don't know at this point. Obviously, the humanity involved in this shooting in North Carolina, this is taking precedent, as it should, over ACC expansion. But earlier in the weekend, Saturday is really when we really started hearing about updates on ACC expansion. And let's deliver you those details because they are really detailed, and they are important. ACC expansion is expected to happen now this week. The ACC is close to adding Stanford, Cal, and SMU. We thought that would happen tonight into tomorrow morning. Obviously, with the events in North Carolina, that's going to be delayed. But that's simply a matter of when, not if, ACC expansion happens. Our sources are telling us SMU will, in fact, take no distribution for 7 years. Our sources are also telling us Stanford and Cal will split a full share. Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports tweeted earlier today that he expects $72 million from ESPN in 3 new shares, $24 million each. $55 million after Stanford and Cal take 30%. SMU takes nothing. $35 to $40 million after offsetting travel costs. $35 million distributed via athletic and football success. And what this is telling you is it would seem Florida State has lost their bid to get an overwhelmingly larger share of the revenue split in the ACC than they had previously, which is what has been holding up ACC expansion for about the better part of 6 weeks at this point. Florida State was pushing very hard to take a larger share of the revenue than anybody else in the conference. Florida State has not won a national championship in 10 years in football. They have not been to the college football playoff. I believe it's in 9, and they have not been relevant in the last 5 years. And it was frustrating. It caused arguments. It caused consternation. And it would appear at this hour that Florida State has lost their bid to gain a larger fraction of revenue than everybody else in the ACC. Now, what this does tell you is rewards for success on the playing field and the basketball court will be significantly higher than just the normal share, the normal distribution that everybody but SMU will be getting. It's time now for the rest of the membership of the ACC to understand that Florida State may well be right. And if Florida State continues on this trajectory, because there's no doubting that Florida State's heading in the right direction, if Florida State goes to the college football playoff, if Florida State shows that success, they will have earned a larger distribution, and nobody will argue that. My question is, and I don't know what you guys think, but my question is Florida State good enough? Do they operate at a high enough level to go to the college football playoff every year, a la a Ohio State and Michigan? I don't know the answer to that, but I have serious doubts about their ability to do that.
Yeah, well, the reality is they haven't shown an ability to do it because you haven't done it. And I do think brand-wise, yeah, they have a really strong brand. But having a brand and winning are two different things. Look no further than SMU, right? Having a brand and actually winning and doing something with that brand are two different things. And again, Florida State has shown the ability to have winning seasons. They've shown the ability to be relatively successful on the football field. But I'm telling you, there's levels to this game, as we all know. And going to an expanded college football playoff, admittedly, is easier than when it was just 4 teams. But I'm not confident that Florida State can make it into the top 12, right? I'm not confident because obviously I'm not confident they can win the ACC on the football field, right? Dabo's got a lot to say about that, and I think there are a couple other programs that would make their life difficult. But when I look at the 12-team expanded playoff, right, it's more than just, hey, can you win your conference or not? Because if you can't win your conference, now we're talking about strength of schedule. Now we're talking about who have you beaten in non-con. Like, what do we look like? What's your resume? And that's what I think Florida State doesn't understand. Like, if Dabo finds a way to win 11 games and win the ACC, let's say, that way, then that means you probably only won 8 or 9 games. So as an 8 or 9 win schedule, does that get you into a 12-man, college football playoff?
I think absolutely not.
So if we're to assume it does not, then Florida State's got real problems.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why I say, like, again, look, we see all the comments after the show and over the weekend. I know Florida State fans all pissed off that, we're not saying that Florida State is some amazing team. And I saw the comments about how Brett McMurphy had them way up in his top 10 team ranking and all the hype. I see it all. But I'm not going to start believing until I actually see performance on the field, bro. I can't
agree.
say, hey, you're quality enough until you show me you beat someone. And I'd like you to beat Clemson.
Badass 377 gives us $5 to ask, if the Pac were to fold with Cal and Stanford leaving, would it benefit the Mountain West to take over the Pac-12 brand and rename themselves the Pac-12? It would not. I think the damage done to the Pac-12 brand is unfixable, irreparable harm. Like I don't know how else you would describe it. The Pac-12 is dead and the brand is dead with it. And again, I will simply say I think it's completely unnecessary.
Well, and a lot of people were like, hey, if they can merge with the Mountain West and keep it under the Pac-12 name, do they keep their A5 status, as it was called at the time? And the answer is no. I mean, we've gotten that answer. It's black and white. They would not have been able to keep that.
Yep. And B gives us $2 more to essentially ask the same thing. No, I don't believe they will. Aztec SD88. San Diego State jabs are a little much. Let's see where they are at playing UCLA, Oregon State, Boise, Air Force Academy for the next 5 weeks. Still have 2 top basketball environments on the West Coast with Viejas. But I ask you this. What does any of that matter if nobody's going to show up and watch football games? Nobody is showing up to watch football games. And I understand as a San Diego State fan why you will defend your university, as you should. But how do you get away from the pure incompetence that your leadership there has shown? How do you get away from that? How do you escape it? How do you get away from Adela De La Torre making just a remarkably foolish statement with the pro rata that we deserve? How do you explain J.D. Wicker, your athletic director, going to Seth Davis, planting what can only be a time bomb, when he says to him in a completely unrelated story, it's not a matter of if we leave the Mountain West, it's when. And we don't know where we're going, but it'll be the Big 12 or the Pac-12. How do you explain the letter Adela De La Torre wrote to the Mountain West and then tried to renege on that deal? And in that letter asked for a payment plan. And in that letter asked for an extension. To go and do business with a group of people who have proved for a decade to be incompetent. How do you explain that away? And then we're bewildered that 16,000 showed up at Snapdragon, and J.D. Wicker again embarrassed himself sending out a letter to season ticket holders and boosters saying, please bring your family, friends, and neighbors. We need to fill up the stadium. And you didn't get half of the stadium full. In a palace, a beautiful venue to watch football. You didn't get half the stadium full. So you're still getting $4 million a year. You have debt load for Snapdragon Stadium. You're not getting concessions because you're not getting gate, so you're not going to be able to operate at the level you believe you should operate at. So if you're telling me, again, the jabs are a little much. How are my jabs a little much? What have I said that is incorrect? Because if I were you, I'd be leaning on basketball too, because it's the only thing you have to lean on.
Well, and I was going to say, with basketball, if we're looking at appearances and we're looking at what's happened, again, not my opinion, just appearances, numbers, this is what's happened. You have one Final Four appearance this past season, right? Before that, you've never even been to the Final Four. Before this past season, you hadn't been to the Sweet 16 since 2014. So, yeah, you did have a damn good year in basketball. I'm not disputing that. That was a hell of a run. But I don't think that if you're a P4 conference and you're sitting at the college football playoff table, let's say, or you're just evaluating San Diego State, you can't make the case that you have a great basketball program. Do you have a progressing basketball program? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%.
Have you shown the ability to be a great basketball program? Well, certainly.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is basketball programs are not made in one season.
Yeah.
And I think the consistency is a real problem. Lance Johnson, thank you for the $5. Very much appreciate that. Let's get a shout-out for our guy, Bickelhoff, the newest member of the program.
Hey, Bickelhoff. That's a little different than Hasselhoff. and stuff. What?
Is that a Baywatch reference?
Yeah, it was. Baywatch and stuff.
For the guy who hates that when we walk in the studio every morning, Samsung TV has Baywatch on.
The Rack Attack!
Yeah, and they do have some Rack Attack happening. Lance for $5. Lincoln is trying to revive the old pinball Big 12 league of the early 2000s. Who needs defense?
Yeah, dude.
To cover the 31, you probably need to tackle.
Yeah, we're just talking about winning. Yeah, he won.
James, the unofficial mayor of Cowboy Country, Okie State, for $5. I will be in Dallas next Saturday.
Tarrant County.
Tarrant County. No, he won't be in Tarrant County, actually. I will do a video of SMU's construction. Trust me, when it's done, SMU Stadium will look amazing. I don't disagree with
Nobody doubts that, dude.
And I feel like we have this conversation daily now with SMU. It's not that you can't. It's that you haven't.
Oh, dear. Oh, my.
It's not that you're not capable. It's that you haven't shown to be capable. You have all this money, and I'm tired of hearing about, the Brinks truck, bro.
That's enough of that crap.
Cool. Go drive your Brinks truck all the way out to Raleigh. Congratulations. But you have all this money. You're building a beautiful stadium for what? Tell me for what? Because you're not making money for 7 years.
Yeah.
So for what? Oh, we're going to dominate the ACC, bro. Okay, how come you haven't dominated the AAC, bro? But we went to Houston. Congratulations. What does it mean? What does it mean that you are going to have a new football stadium? You haven't been relevant in decades. Oh, death penalty was unfair. It is what it is. You're allowing the death penalty now to be an excuse. Decades later. Eric Dickerson, Craig James, neat. What does that have to do with the last decade of incompetence?
With all
in
due
SMU
respect.
football? You brought SMU football back. You have all these boosters and you have all these collectives. And what does it mean? We talked to one of the largest donors at SMU in a wide-ranging conversation. What's the one question he couldn't answer? Well, why haven't you guys won? You have all this money.
Pardon me.
You're trying to buy your way into the Power Five. You're not Boise State. Boise State at least has won.
Yeah, Boise State's better than you.
Somebody, and I'm not trying to be Mr. Negative on SMU.
San Diego State's better than you by a lot.
So tell me why I should believe, and James is going to do a video of this beautiful stadium. Explain to me why it matters. What in the world on cow dung distribution does this have to do with winning football games?
Yeah, how'd Snapdragon work out for San Diego State?
You said if we got this stadium, then we would have 16,000 people show up and almost lose to Ohio?
If you build it, they won't come.
Brady Hoke, he's amazing because you can afford him. That's the truth. B for $2. What happens now with $400 million in Pac-12 assets? They're going to sell them. It's remarkable. You built you were building, I'm not sure where it's at now, a state-of-the-art production facility in San Ramon, the East Bay. All your trucks, hey, we're awesome at production. Cool. Somebody else will take it off your hands for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
That's what will happen. JC, better San Diego State than Fresno State, 38,000 average attendance. That's the one thing I will at least say. Fresno State has some damn passionate fans.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Carrie Lee. But San Diego State brings the whole SoCal market. That's why we're P5 level. And nobody wants you. By the way, who owns Southern California? Oh, the Big Ten does. Amazing. Christopher Shannon still won't put 50,000 people in that stadium. You won't.
No,
you won't. Brandon Butler, SMU trying to be the Beverly Hillbillies. All that oil money in the mansion you're going to end up in.
Oil money.
The cement pond.
You and your mom are hillbillies.
I don't even think it's that long. That you could win You build a new stadium, San Diego State. 2-3 years? Shouldn't you be able to recruit? But why does nobody want you? I mean, the Pac-12 needed you and didn't want you. The Big 12 never called you. The ACC never called you. Because you're not good at being in business.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, O.G. Gary. But we all know that what city SMU brings to the table. I mean, it says Dallas on the front of all their uniforms, so it must be true. Man, you guys, SMU has Dallas on the front of their uniforms. That must mean that SMU delivers Tarrant County. Holy shit. No, they don't. They don't. The Todd father, it's going to be hilarious when the ACC breaks up in 10 years after SMU has just started earning 10 years. How are they going to make it 10 more years? I don't know either. James, I'll make a bet. Uh-oh. Well, Jake needs to get back after his 31-point disaster.
What a joke.
If there are more than 30,000 fans in Dallas on Saturday, you owe me a Cougar tail. Okay. I'll send you a Cougar tail now. I don't know how good it'll be because, I mean, those express mail envelopes are quite, those are, not good. Not good. Right? And listen, if you're an SMU fan, isn't now the time you show up? I mean, for
I guess.
The vaunted Luz and a Tech.
Is SMU fan even following this stuff right now?
They're favored by 20 points.
Well,
and again, I don't understand your disrespect. Did you not see it says Dallas on the front of their jerseys? Dude.
Can you do something for me?
No, I can't.
No, I can't.
No, actually, I can't.
Sorry, bro.
Nope.
Hey, they might. I would hope that SMU fan would show up. I would hope. Right?
I guess.
Winning comes first, then the stadium. You shouldn't expand until there is demand. If that fan don't fit, you must quit. That's an OJ. Okay. Shooter, Texas. I read it on the internet, so it must be true. SMU brings all of Dallas, the entire Metroplex. Let's go, Fort Worth. Let's go, everybody. SMU's got a new stadium. Let's go. Let's go. Round up your steers. Let's go. Get on your horses. We're going to SMU. Where is everybody? Right? Gary Wolf, nobody wants San Diego State because it's garbage.
I mean,
because it's garbage.
Am I going to say you wrong? ACC and 12 merger could happen. Nah, bro.
Gary, please.
I don't think so. I really don't think so. Mike Smith, SMU at their first ACC meeting. Guys, we're here. Rest of the ACC members look at them and say, shut up and sit in a corner. SMU mumbles. Nobody puts SMU in the corner as they go to the corner. Dirty dancing at its finest. The Todd father, grant of rights.
Okay.
I mean, I like it. Jeremy Callahan, James, unofficial mayor of Cowboy Country, Okie State. You might want to worry about Oklahoma State winning games, too. Cyclone Steve, I understand and agree that the meeting should be canceled tonight. I just wish there was as much attention given to the dozens killed in Chicago every weekend. Let's not do that. Wrong show, bro. We're not the gun violence show. We probably should be, but we're not. And I think, yeah, it doesn't matter what I think. Lance Johnson for $20.
Appreciate you.
Hello, Lance. Tired of hearing about SMU's death penalty. Okie State's 4-year probation in 89 was worse because we had to keep spending money for 4 years with no recruits, no bowls, no TV, and no hope.
I'm a man.
You needed to recover by now. I'm just going to, you guys go ahead and read the last line. Again.
And again.
And again.
And again.
Stop talking about the death penalty. All I ever hear about is Craig James. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know what time it is.
Who cares? That was a long time ago, dude. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
You have all that money, and it's meant absolutely nothing to you. That's the thing. T. Higgins is a badass. The difference between SMU and San Diego State is that SMU has a lot of money, and San Diego State is clipping coupons. You're not wrong,
bro. That's cold-blooded, dog. Like you don't gotta have so much vitriol for San Diego State, man. They're trying to make some bread.
The difference is neither one of them is one. And I just keep going back to them. Oh, man, our collective. Dude. Have you seen...
collective is such a niche word.
But you guys,
our collective.
all this money in the collective, have you
Can you
seen
measure it?
the penis extensions that all of them got?
Cock-a-doodle-doo.
They spent that money, bro. Like, what does it matter? Nobody cares. Win games. Win games.
That's what Dilly said, right?
Win games.
Nobody cares about your problems.
Nobody cares about your circumstances. Dude.
Yeah, dude.
I don't care. I don't. Look at this thing at Michigan. Have you guys heard about this thing at Michigan? Michigan today suspended Sharon Moore for the opening game of the season as more restitution to the NCAA for their horrendous recruiting violations.
Yeah.
Horrendous. And yet Jim Harbaugh still thinks he's above it all. Still thinks he's above it all. And I don't understand it. Is Michigan going to get the death penalty? They won't.
No.
Should they? No.
TV needs Michigan.
The death penalty is stupid. Should Jim Harbaugh be forced to resign and never coach again? Probably not. That's harsh, but something like that. I think when you have recruiting violations along the line of ASU, Michigan, coach should be fired at a baseline. You did the things you knew you couldn't do, and you knew that when you were doing them. And then, allegedly, Jim Harbaugh lied to the NCAA investigators. The Committee on Infractions turned down a 4-game suspension for Jim. So Michigan gave him 3. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Jim Harbaugh should be fired. And he should have a 5-year show cause. By the way, he does not win you games.
You know.
I mean, I know he's got, 2 or 3 national championships at Michigan? He's never lost to Ohio State. They always go to the Rose Bowl. Oh, wait, that's a lie. Just like Jim lied to the Committee
I mean,
on
you wouldn't want to have to force Jim. Good old khakis.
I said just like Jim lied to the... Never mind.
You wouldn't want to have to force Jim to have to go and work in the NFL again.
I have no sympathy for these guys.
No.
The out and out damage and injury they do to their program is nothing short of the Advocates.
I was involved in a hit-and-run accident. My chiropractor recommended me to the Advocates. They completely took care of everything. Now that my case has been settled, I feel like I can go back to my normal life, all thanks to the Advocates.
The Advocates, theadvocates.com, where you never pay a penny out of pocket. In fact, do you know you can talk to a premier injury attorney, one of the best in the business? Right now, online for free, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, theadvocates.com. They're passionate about their communities. I love it, whether you are, it doesn't matter where you are, Utah, whether you're in Phoenix, Idaho, it doesn't matter. The attorneys at the Advocates, they're the best in the business. Motorcycle accidents, workman's comp, injuries on the job, bicycles, running, any accident where you were injured, you should talk to the Advocates right now, theadvocates.com. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Real quick, I do want to get to this Notre Dame thing because a lot of people hate Notre Dame. Why do you hate Notre Dame? What is it about Notre Dame beating the hell out of Navy 42-3?
God bless.
The eventual soon-to-be Heisman Trophy winning Sam Hartman dominating. I mean, it's what we do in South Bend. Why do you think Notre Dame is one of the most hated brands in college football?
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that hate him, but I don't know that Notre Dame is more hated than, what? Alabama. Yeah, I don't think Notre Dame's more hated than Alabama. No, I think that Notre Dame, I think people resent Notre Dame because they, are an NBC partner and are on national TV every single week and
tons of notoriety.
And, the ACC made an exception for them, and now it's coming back to pipe the ACC.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think there's some resentment there, but ultimately, when we get down to brass tacks, Notre Dame is another one of these teams. Notre Dame is notorious for getting to the college football playoff and playing Alabama, and then everyone's all happy when Alabama kicks the living hell out of them. And that's fine. That's who Notre Dame is, though. That's what I mean when I say, hey, there are some brands in college football that are super valuable, must-have brands, because they make the matchup that everyone comes to watch. Even if you lost by whatever you lost by, you made that great matchup. SMU can't do that. San Diego State can't do that. Cal can't do that. Stanford can't do that. There is only a group of schools that make up the best matchups that we all want to watch when there's snow on the ground and turkey in the oven. That's the point of college football. Notre Dame is one of those teams. Notre Dame is an absolute staple in the Midwest. No doubt about it. On the West Coast, no. People don't care about Notre Dame the way they do in the Midwest. I agree with that. But
I think it's really interesting that when you look at Notre Dame, I think that whole thing about the ACC, I think, is very accurate. I think there is a burnout factor on the attitude of Notre Dame. I think there is a burnout factor on the influence that Notre Dame has. But hasn't Notre Dame earned that influence? When you have the reach that they have.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Let's be honest. It's reach.
Yeah.
Which makes them
money. It's the same thing with BYU. It's the same resentment. Hey, dude, BYU,
I agree with that.
BYU only got into the Big 12 because of the ESPN contract. Yeah, you're damn right they did. You're damn right. Now, I don't agree it's the only reason, but you're a fool if you think that the ESPN relationship with BYU and Tom Homel's ability to schedule to satiate ESPN didn't have a full circle effect on them being able to flip the bird to the Pac-12 and jump into the Big 12. That's business. And Notre Dame, like it or not, is outstanding at business. The non-con schedule are really, obviously they're independent, but their ability to schedule the biggest names, the biggest opponents, and get themselves into the playoff or in the playoff college football is elite. They do it at a really high level. What did we hear? And I think you were saying some of this early in the year before we even started playing football. Notre Dame's going to be terrible this year. Notre Dame's going to be awful, right? Young-ass head coach, don't know what we're doing at quarterback. Sure, Audric Estime, but he fumbled a ton last year. We're not looking great. And then they come out and handle business overseas against Navy, and everybody and their mom is like, Notre Dame, our mother, and everything's awesome. God bless. Pray for, dude, that's Notre Dame. So whether they actually win and are a 10-win team doesn't really matter. They're on NBC every week playing a huge nameplate, and your ass is going to watch. That's what matters in college football business and boardrooms and meetings. That's why Notre Dame is Notre Dame.
Yeah, and I also think, and by the way, Prize Picks coming up in 10 minutes because I think I have a lock of all locks coming up in Prize Picks. So in the description below, click on the Prize Picks link, download the app, make sure you use the promo code Monty if it's not already in there. Prize Picks is phenomenal. They have a great promotion, $100 deposit matching. Up to $100 deposit matching, 100%. So if you put 50, they give you 50. If you put 100, they give you 100. It's a great promo for Monty Show listeners. We'll give you our Prize Picks here in about 10 minutes. But I do want to get into this Nick Saban thing because there is outrage in college sports that Nick Saban is not releasing a depth chart at Alabama for the first time in his 17 years. He is going to wait for kickoff to do it. And it's clearly because he has a quarterback controversy. So I think people hate Nick Saban in Alabama because he's had tremendous success there. He's the best college football coach in the history of the game.
GOAT.
I think that's why this is a thing. But do you care that he's not releasing a depth chart?
No, and I think what really bothers me about this whole story is obviously we can run out the classic stick of, hey, it's none of your business, media member, whether he does or not. But the reality is it is their business. The media covers Nick Saban. They have the right to ask every question they want to, right? So
Yes.
it is their business. That's not a valid argument here. But what I think is a valid argument is that people are missing the point here, man. What did he say? He didn't say, oh, well, I've got a quarterback controversy, so I'm not going to release the depth chart. That's not what he said. What he said is, hey, dude, it's a piece of paper. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day what the depth chart says because, number one, I don't want it to be a distraction. Everybody in that locker room knows exactly where they're at on the depth chart. They don't need to read it on a piece of paper like a child, number one. Number two, I need everybody competing like they're playing for a starting position come Saturday.
Yeah.
And so I just don't understand why it's so difficult for people to understand that. Because ultimately, I agree. You want your boys competing as hard as they can compete. Because anything short of that is not good enough. And yeah, Nick Saban needs to get to the business of winning something this year. It's not going to be good enough to lose to super speeder Kirby anymore.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of questions about Nick Saban's ability to win a national championship again.
Yeah.
And I think there are a lot of questions about his ability to recruit at a national championship level and still develop.
Yeah.
So as we contemplate that, make sure you hit the like button, please. That really helps the channel grow. And if you are not subscribed, please do. We've had over 7,000 views on the show today, but we only have 241 likes. So please hit the like button. James, the unofficial mayor of Cowboy Country, says, I don't like Notre Dame for the same reason I don't like Penn State and SC. Put the names on the back of the jersey. I don't want to have to look at a program just to find out who made a tackle. Are you serious?
That's really why you don't like those programs?
That's interesting. Jeff Woodworth, don't hate Notre Dame. No feeling whatsoever on Notre Dame. Gary Wolf, Texas is most hated and deservedly so.
Okay, that's a fair point. I think a lot of people hate Texas.
Kevin Chittenden, Texas sucks. How about Sarkisian going off on Brett Yormark, saying, hey, because Brett Yormark basically said, go in there and kick his ass, Joey Maguire. And to that, Steve Sarkisian said, I doubt he's coming to spend Thanksgiving with us, which I think is hysterical. Texas knows nobody likes Texas.
Yeah.
Texas knows. Come on. I don't know. I don't hate Texas. I happen to have a lot of respect for what it takes to build a program. And I look at Saban, Sarkisian, Kirby Smart to a lesser extent because of all the speeding ticket stuff. But, yeah, I don't know. Mike Smith, for those that do not like Notre Dame like myself, just don't watch them. I rarely ever watch a Notre Dame game.
And that's fine.
How do we block Mike? People don't like? Is that real?
I guess.
That's disappointing.
Notre Dame, our mother.
That's disappointing. I love Notre Dame. Sid Irish, Saban drama? Never. Exactly. Yeah, Saban tends to be a drama queen. Great coach, no doubt, but drama queen. OG Gary, when you great, you get a lot of hate, George Washington.
And that's kind of my thing, dude.
I don't think George Washington said it like that.
Yeah, I don't think he had the slang in there like that, but it's fine.
I could be wrong.
Like, you can call, and again, respectfully, you can call Nick Saban a drama queen, or you can realize that he's in control. He's the one with all the cards, and he doesn't give a damn what Feinbaum thinks. He doesn't care what Buddy the reporter thinks, who's asking why there's not a depth chart today, man.
Lane Train cares what Feinbaum thinks.
Yeah, right? Like Lane Train, but I think it's a great point. Lane Train, why does Lane Train, again, satiate Feinbaum so much? Because Lane Train sees an opportunity because Nick Saban is Nick Saban and Kirby is Kirby. So Lane Train understands, hey, I'm not those guys, but I can get in right under them, and I can work with the media, and I can be that guy.
Yes.
And so then that will allow me to control the media narrative a little more.
Mitch Trubiscuit, in honor of Monty. Saban, an elder, he's 70. He's not an elder. That guy's far from done.
I'm a man.
Far, far, far from done. Lance says if you have 3 QBs, then you don't have any QBs. Well, he's got one.
I disagree.
I think he knows. Gary, Saban issuing a depth chart as in we're going to kill our opponents. Yeah, why would he do that? Why would he do that? I have no idea why.
Notice no one talks about the fact that he totally discussed Appalachian State in a super respectful way, right? He didn't need to go out of his way to say, they run an exotic defense or they do this or they do that. He didn't need to do that, but he did. But nobody talks about that.
I just don't happen to hate Nick Saban. I feel like maybe maybe I need to see the doctor again. Maybe I need to go back to thumb in the butt because I don't understand what's wrong with me that I don't hate Alabama and Nick Saban the way apparently everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm running a temperature. I don't know. I don't hate Alabama. I don't hate Nick Saban. I just don't. And I think that when you're playing Middle Tennessee State and you're a 39-point favorite and the over-under is 51.5 and you're supposed to win by 39 and the total is 51.5.
Mm-hmm.
Middle Tennessee's probably not. But then in 2 weeks, he's got Sark in Texas coming in, and I love it. I just don't hate the guy the way most people do. Okay, a couple more, then we got to get to prize picks. Alexander Smitley, Texas is the worst. Mitch Trubisky says Tex ass. Okay, Texas getting a lot of votes today. Steve knows that BY does not want to spend Thanksgiving with a drunk. Jesus. Guy. That's not nice, Mike.
Well, Steve, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I saw a thing where Steve was referencing the fact that Brett Yormark sent him a letter.
Yes.
That was basically about sportsmanship and handle yourself well on the way out of the conference.
Steve Sarkisian said it's funny that BY would say that because a week ago I got a letter talking about sportsmanship in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And then Brett Yormark went on, essentially on national TV and said, hey, go down there, Joe McGuire, and kick his ass.
Hey, guys.
Okay. Hey, man, you do you. Lance Johnson says whiners. Rick Forrester says Notre Dame is God's team. That's right. And don't you forget it.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
Mike Smith, George said don't start none, what won't be none. Could be. Could be. Shooter, Texas, just like Blazing Saddles, but we don't want the Irish. Where are the white women at? What do you mean?
Notre Dame, our mother.
Pray for us. James, Texas, quote-unquote, Longhorn Network drove out Colorado, Mizzou, A&M, and Nebraska. I forgave them once. I went to a game in Austin and ate some barbecue. I may go to Texas game just to get more food. My guy. That is my soulmate. Just go for the food. And donuts. San Diego State created an island. They've become a pariah. Yes, they have. Bill G. Austin is a great place, but few go for the food. Okay. Roundabout. It's probably that long colon. Could be. Could be my long colon. Bill G says Saban is the GOAT. He is.
He is, dude.
Matt Riley, I don't hate Saban. He's the standard everyone looks to. He is.
Agreed.
All right. Let's get to prize picks, you guys. Make sure you download the Prize Picks app because you got about 10 minutes before you select Luis Severino from the Yankees on strikeouts, and he is going to get 5.5 strikeouts tonight. I love that one. The one I'm really struggling with, and I want to pick. I want to pick Michael Kopech against Baltimore. It's only 4 strikeouts for Kopech.
Yeah,
that makes me nervous.
There's too many other good options.
Blake Snell with 7 strikeouts against St. Louis. How do you feel about? He's been pitching well.
Yeah, he's been pitching well. That's not a bad play. I look at
Wainwright or Snell.
Wainwright certainly.
It's only 3 for
San
Wainwright.
Diego's been slumping, so I would take Wainwright over Snell. I like Kevin Gossman 6.5 against Washington. They're terrible. That's not a bad play.
The one I want to pick that I'm not gonna.
Jamison Tyone against Milwaukee, right?
You could do worse than Jamison Tyone. 4.5 strikeouts.
Yeah.
You could do worse than that. There is a couple others. I really like the total bases tonight. I love Jose Altuve is at 1.5. Huge fan there. Manny Machado against Adam Wainwright is 1.5. Love that one. Did you see Manny beat the hell out of a cooler?
Yeah.
Lost
Yeah,
his
did.
ever-loving mind.
Yeah.
I like that at total bases. And then James Outman against Arizona is at half. So he's just got to get on base once.
Yeah.
I don't think that's asking
Mookie
too
Betts.
much.
Come on. Mookie Betts, 1.5.
Yeah.
Come on.
You're asking for trouble. I think the hitter fantasy score is the other one I would point to tonight. Adley Rutschman against Michael Kopech. This one caught my attention this morning when I was fondling through.
Fondling.
What? Look at how easy this is for Rutschman. All he needs to get to the 7. He just needs a base hit and then like a double. And if he gets driven in on that double, he's at 7. So I'll take more.
Yeah.
I'll take more on Adley Rutschman.
Yeah, I'd take more on Adley Rutschman. I would certainly take more on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at 7.5 versus Washington.
Well, Corey Seager, who's arguably one of the hottest hitters in baseball all year.
Yep.
He's at 8.5.
More on that.
Guy's a home run machine.
Lindor at 7.5.
I don't know about Lindor. I am not a Met believer. I would be very careful with that. And the reason I say that is because John Gray is an interesting guy. He's got 111 strikeouts and a 3.76 ERA.
He's a gas can. He is a throw hard guy.
He is, but he's only had one. His game log is actually very interesting. He is, in the month of August, he's a 4.24, which is better than July where he was a 5.48. Now, I'm not saying he's played prolific offenses.
Right.
But Lindor's a guy that could be interesting.
This is the first game of that series, right?
It is.
Yeah, so the Mets just got done with the Angels, a 3-gamer. In the first game of the Angels series, Lindor had 14. The second game he had 10, and the third game he had 5. So
opening game of a series.
He's pretty good. And I might add the 2-gamer, I think it was against Atlanta. The opening game he had a 14.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a home run. You can see that's why I leave the graphic up there, you guys. But
yeah,
you can see on the home, it's one home run.
Bellinger at 7 versus Milwaukee's nice.
Yeah,
that might be one I take too.
The Todd Father, love Prize Picks prop parlay field, but legal in Florida. It is legal in Florida. Teddy Wayman says John Gray more.
You like John Gray more? Interesting.
If I go, well, what is his? I didn't even consider him on pitcher strikeouts.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that for strikeouts or what do you got there, bud?
Yeah, well, he's only at 5 against the Mets, who just, I mean, they can't hit your mom at this point. I mean, John Gray Moore is a good one. You better hurry. I think that's just about
20
15 minutes. Yeah,
20 minutes.
You might look at that one because I think that's really interesting.
But if you're going to take John Gray at 5, why wouldn't you look at, Chris Sale at 5.5 or Wade Miley at 3.5?
Fuck Wade Miley. You and your Wade Miley. Nobody likes Wade Miley.
Zach Gallen at 5.
Okay, I like Zach Gallen.
Dodgers, but still, he's a strikeout guy.
All yours. Yeah, I like that. Take Jamison Tyone. I rarely say it. Take Jamison Tyone. There's a lot of pressure on the Cubs. This next 10-day stretch, that's probably the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
So Tyone knows he's got to throw it tonight.
Yeah.
And don't get me started.
Mid.
I'm not doing it. Teddy Wayman, throw in Monty's picks and add the 2 that I posted in the members group chat. Could be a great night, guys. Will be. Teddy said, yeah, pitcher strikeouts. Jeff Woodworth, it's not sports betting if you disguise it as fantasy. Daily fantasy is not sports betting.
No.
And that's what I love about Prize Picks. Like I am a huge Prize Picks fan. Huge Prize Picks fan. I find it so. I've always loved daily fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Always loved daily fantasy. Prize Picks in the description below on this show. If you're listening on our audio podcast, bless you, friends. Don't forget Stitcher's shutting down, so you won't be able to get the Monty Show. Stitcher's like number 4 on our list of top RSS people listening on our feed. Stitcher's number 4. They're shutting down.
Dang.
Matriculating over to a new platform there. But on the podcast, you're watching us live on YouTube. In the description below, try it once. Take my advice on this. If you want to dip your toe in the daily fantasy water, click the link in the description of the show and do $25. When you click our link, or if you use promo code Monty, they'll give you the 100% of what you deposit. So if you put up $25, they're going to give you 25 more. Now you've got $50, plenty to play Prize Picks.
Yeah.
Plenty. It's affordable. I love it. Do it. Roundabout, I rarely wear underwear, but when I do, it's usually something pretty wild. It is. Yeah, thongs. The Todd Father. That's my point. This is the only way to do this in style on fantasy in Florida. It's great. Yeah, I love it. And it is so much fun. OG Gary. Bro, they got the University of Utah versus Swamp Puppies at 45.5 on the over, and Utah minus 6.5. Take Florida to cover, under, and Utah to win. Parlay that. Dude, I think Utah is going to run the train over Florida. With this hurricane that's unfortunately going to hit Florida, they've got 2 that's going through Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
Why on earth would they not just come to Salt Lake City?
I have no idea.
I don't get it, you guys.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
I don't understand it at all.
Opportunity to get used to the altitude, and you don't take it.
I don't understand it at all. I think they're going to get crushed. I truly do. All right. We need to get to football at 50. 10 to the hour. Every hour on the Monty Show program.
Hey, Monty.
The Monty Show, the official pizza of the Monty Show is Papa Murphy's Pizza. They present football at 50. 10 to the hour, every hour. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more. Why don't we fight over Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys? Now, it's just little old Monty over here. Lost 4 more pounds, not as fat as I used to be. Who told you last week? Trey Lance being traded to the Dallas Cowboys is a shot over your Dak Prescott bow. I believe you told me I was stupid and unattractive for that take, Jake. I believe that's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing is, turned on Get Up this morning, and what were they arguing about? Oh, that's right. They were arguing about whether or not this is a shot over the Dak Prescott bow. By the way, did you guys hear the details that Jerry Jones did not talk to Dak Prescott or Mike McCarthy before making this trade? He made the trade and then reached out to Dak Prescott and Mike McCarthy. Hey, by the way, Dak, we traded for your replacement. Trey Lance. Now, in the near term, is Trey Lance a threat to Dak Prescott? No. Say it gets October, November. You've won 6 games, 5 games. You're telling me he's not going to get a look? Hey, how much was that extension they just signed Dak to? Oh, wait, that's right. They didn't sign him to an extension.
Look, if they want to run Trey Lance out there because they're tired of Dak, that's great, because that division just got a lot easier.
I don't believe that Trey Lance is a threat necessarily to Dak Prescott. But you can't tell me he won't become that. I think the Dallas Cowboys are terrible at quarterbacking. Really bad. Good idea to tell Will Grier that you were going to cut him. And again, the entire game the other night, and he dominated. You still going to cut him? They're not good at footballing in Dallas with the Cowboys. This was a reasonable trade. He's 3rd overall pick. You only gave up a 4th rounder to get him. Okay, I'm good with that. But you didn't go to Dak Prescott first and say, hey, we're going to take a flyer on this kid because you're a quarterback and you've been hurt. And we need to make sure that we're secure at that position. That's how it should have been done.
Yeah.
They didn't. They didn't even ask Mike McCarthy. What the fuck? What do you say to Mike McCarthy? Hey, fathead. By the way, New Year is out of size 26 hats. They ordered them. Anyway, here's your new quarterback, Trey Lance.
Yeah, it's my quarterback.
Yeah, I'd like you to cut Will Grier. We'll see you later. Okay, thanks for coming. Jerry Jones is a terrible owner.
Yeah, and I don't understand why surprise Dak. Why, like Mike McCarthy, whatever. He's in management. Fine.
Just the coach.
Yeah, but like it's not like that's going to end your world or anything, right? Buddy's not going to quit the team. Like, it's fine. But Dak is a problem because Dak is the poster child of the franchise. We're not talking about Tony Pollard as the face of the Cowboys. We're not talking about, Van Der Esch. We're talking about Dak. And Dak did a good job of not literally or explicitly saying he was upset, but showing that he was upset. And if I was Dak, I'd be upset too.
I'm telling you. You know what I think the bigger story is going to be Will Grier. Because I don't think you can cut Will Grier now. Not after what he showed you in the preseason. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that this is not a huge mistake by Jera.
I don't know why Jerry Jones took a flyer on Trey Lance. Let someone else do that. Let someone else do that. The proper move here would have been to start Will Grier and do what you did, but don't cut the guy. Know what you have back there before you go cutting guys. Because isn't that exactly the Trey Lance thing? Now at some point you're going to have to play him, and then when he plays like crap, which is an inevitability, you're going to feel like an idiot because you've upset your starter for a guy that's never going to live up to it. And what? For what? For what?
Yeah, I don't know. Because I think it's a huge. This is it for Dallas. You've got to win this. If they don't go far this year, you're done.
Well, what's far? The NFC Championship?
You got to go to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
You have to. Let's see. The Todd Father. I read that one. My bad. Carrie Lee. Shout out, congratulations to El Segundo Little League for winning the Little League World Series this weekend on a walk-off home run, by the way.
Nice.
Which was awesome. Jeremy Tracy, how healthy is Cam Rising? He will play. Jeff Woodworth, JD6 out for week 1 is the rumor. Who's JD6? Am I missing something? Jeremy Callahan says boom, 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 boom. That's right, yo. OG Gary, Utah by 3. It's either 21-24 or 24-27. 35 21.
17.
35-17. It's not going to be
new quarterback, close. First legit opponent.
Derek Roche, Utah by 10. Florida struggles in Utah. Would agree. Roundabout. To be fair, Jerry Jones doesn't have to confer with them before making trades. Call it privilege of footing the Bills. Doesn't have to, but you also don't have to win games.
Is that what you're going to say when Dak holds out? Is that what you're going to say when the Cowboys are awful because they made an idiot choice on Trey Lance?
I agree. Apple account S. Dallas fans are waiting for Jerry to go away. All of them.
Agreed.
If they don't win this year, I don't know how they will. Teddy Wayman, man, I hope Dallas implodes this season. I don't think they will, but it would be nice to see them suck at football. Oh, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, there's nothing better than turning on a Jerry Jones football game and eating a Papa Murphy's calzone.
At Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do calzones.
Papa Murphy's does calzones?
Oh, I think you mean I do the calzones.
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it? How do I do it?
Oh, well, we do it with fresh ingredients and hand-shredded cheese tucked in a scratch-made dough.
That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
Hey, don't forget the calzones.
Order now at papamurphys.com.
Papa Murphy's Pizza, the official pizza of the Monty Show. Make sure you download the Papa Murphy's mobile app. Use the promo code Monty25 to get 25% off your purchase of $25 or more at Papa Murphy's Pizza. Yankees are in the top of the second. We are watching that game very closely. They're one of our prize picks tonight. I am a Severino believer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably stupid.
He's got one in the first already.
He does have he's got 2. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. He's got 2.
Yeah.
What was the number, 5?
I think.
Yeah, I like Severino tonight.
Yeah.
We'll see. He tends to go through bad innings like very quickly.
He'll give you 6 no-hit innings and then blow up in the 7th.
Yeah, I totally agree. So keep an eye on that one. The Monty Show, as always, is presented by our good friends at Bucked Up Energy. Bucked Up Energy, the official energy provider of the Monty Show. Get to buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty20 to get 20% off your purchase at checkout. You guys, I say it every single day. Super proud of my wife. I married a rock star. I tell you that all the time. This weekend, she kicked more ass. She was in a triathlon, a sprint triathlon. It was run, bike, swim, which is really difficult. She got through it. She finished second in her age group, which is fantastic. And she did it because she uses Bucked Up products to train. She used their endurance product while she was running the race. It's just so awesome to see somebody you love achieve like that. And it's great to know that Bucked Up Energy, they make great supplements, whether it's her protein, whether it is her pre-workout, her BAMF, her LFG, whether it is their energy drinks. Mrs. Monty every day uses Buckshot. You guys, it's just a great energy supplement, 200 milligrams of energy, but it's also got all these brain food in it that helps you get through that pivot table, that Excel spreadsheet you got to do, that last conference call at the end of the day. Bucked Up, you can count on them. Their products do what they say because they use quality ingredients. Buckedup.com. Make sure you use the promo code Monty20 to get 20% off at checkout. A lot of dissent on Jerry Jones. Mike Smith turning on Jerry Jones teams and eating Papa Murphy's pizza when Cowboys official pizza is Papa Murphy's or is Papa John's is Machiavellian. Screw him. Teddy Wayman, there's a reason Dallas hasn't won in 25 years. Jackass Jerry Jones and his bloated ego not putting Jimmy in ROH pisses me off to no end.
Jackass Jerry Jones.
That's amazing. Jeff Woodworth, my triathlon is drink, nap, eat.
Seriously.
She did great, you guys. I'm so proud of my wife. Amazing. As a Yankee fan, they are so hard to watch this season. Don't get me started. Do not get me started.
Should you fire Booney?
So Aaron Boone, the manager of the New York Yankees. This team is massively underachieved. I don't think it's Booney's fault. They don't have the pitching that's required to be an elite team in the National or in the American League East.
Mm-hmm.
They don't. But having said that, their bats have gone to sleep at times. Anthony Rizzo's been hurt with this concussion. Like, you need a roster overhaul in the Bronx. And I don't know that Brian Cashman's the guy to do that. I really don't. You've got some really young players in key positions. I don't know that I would fire him. I really don't. Gabriel, Mrs. Monty, for the Olympics, we need bucked up gold medal energy.
Yeah, gold medal and stuff.
She did. Her goal was to be under 2 hours.
I'm for real.
I'm pretty sure, or an hour and 50 minutes maybe. She was at 1:44:16.
I'm for real.
And the best part was usually it is swim, bike, run. That's usually the order of these triathlons. They did run, bike, swim, and it was in Provo, Utah. So there were like big uphills on the bike and the run. She got into the pool and just dominated. It was amazing. She must have passed 5-6 other people who just were out of gas, and she was
zooming.
And she said after the race, I'm out of gas in the pool. Like, she's like, I had a calf cramp, and dude, you would have never known it. And she just, it was so much fun to watch. So much fun. Derek Roche said, congrats, Mrs. Monty, on second place. Thank you. Greg Hawkins, you stud. Teddy Wayman says, howdy, Greg. How about them Orioles? Yeah, Baltimore is one of the best stories in baseball this year with their shitty ownership and all. It is what Adley Rutschman's done for that roster and the belief that he built in their ability to draft and develop guys. I think he is a great story, what he's done for them in the All-Star game, and I think it's amazing. OG Gary, Rizzo out, Judge out, manager sucks. We ain't got no pitchers, bro. My Yankees need an overhaul. I don't think the manager sucks. I'm a Booney guy.
Yeah.
I would love him to be the manager of the Cubs. Now, David Ross is actually pulling quite a few miracles these days on the north side, so we'll see. Jeff Woodworth, you do when they are cheap. 23 and talented. I don't know what you mean by that. Tell me what you mean by that. Let's see. Wow. Kim Coulter says LOL. Hello, Kim. Katie Rader, pew, pew, Rackham. Good to see you. Mike Smith, Mrs. Monty wore out after the race, Monty says. So, honey. What are you thinking for dinner? Monty eats alone with a black eye. Actually, you want to know how quality this woman is? You got to get yourself a wife like I've got.
With all due respect.
Number one, she runs this race. We go out to breakfast with her friends. We, after breakfast, go home. I took a 35, 40-minute nap because we got up at 3:50 a.m. to go to this race, right? Not only does she let me nap, then I go play golf. Terrible golf. Awful.
With the mayor.
It was, with Jeremy Bolton, the mayor of Montytown. Played terrible golf. I'm driving home, and she's like, hey, do you want me to go pick up acai bowls?
Honey.
Pick me up an acai bowl. It was amazing. And,
It glitched.
Jerk. And then Sunday, I played some more really shitty golf. So,
Too hard on yourself, bro.
Nah, I'm playing poorly. Jake's a better golfer than I am now. And he won't admit it. He won't say it. Would be hilarious if Jerry cuts Greer and then his QB next team he QBs the next team to a Super Bowl win. And oh, by the way, kicks the Cowboys' asses along the way. Would be amazing.
But he can play. Gregory
Krug, what's up, my guy? As soon as the Orioles moved their left field wall back, they became good. Yeah, moved it in, and it's made a huge difference, as it has not in Detroit, by the way. Lance Johnson, 4th-round pick is not cheap. Oh, come on. For a former number 3 pick, a talented quarterback, you gave up a 4th-round
pick, number 3 overall.
I think that's a great price. That's a great price. Katie Rader, Monty, has Jake met her? Met who?
Yeah, who?
Who are we talking about? What am I missing here, man? I must be missing something. I don't know. Somebody catch me up. Gabriel, I don't like the fact that usually marathons are extremely early in the morning. Me either, but my wife wants to do this half marathon, and I'm like, no.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No. And we at some point we need to talk about this. My wife,
what?
I want her to golf more because she's actually good at golf. And she wants to do more races that are longer, that require far more training. I'm just like, dude, I'm 50 years old, man. We're not getting any younger. That's a different.
Well, does she prioritize racing over golf then?
Oh, yes. By far. By far. Mike Smith, I got me a great woman as well, but she is trying to kill me. Someone call 911 and on the slide for me as she's watching me right now, please. Stop. Elaine Tran, how are you? OG Gary, USC. Number 1 is Reggie Bush in receiver form. He's special. What do you guys buy about this Reggie Bush lawsuit? Because I don't buy much of it. This lawsuit was never going to court. I don't know why people can't see this. Reggie Bush didn't sue all the parties in his lawsuit because he thought he was going to court. Everybody's like, oh, he wanted disclosures. There's not going to be disclosures. They're going to wind up getting either kicked out or he's going to drop it. It was to prove a point.
Mm-hmm.
That people were talking about it was a townhouse and pay for play. Reggie Bush got way, way more punishment than he ever deserved.
Right.
You're taking your Heisman away. Like, it's just, he was trying to prove a point. He was trying to prove a point. Plain and simple, that's what it was.
Yep.
He was trying to prove a point. Katie Rader says, Mrs. Monty, yes. Nate SJ, can I just say from the Mountain West Conference, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of own the Western United States as a conference. Now they do.
Yeah.
Now they do. Truth. LV Seminole, Darren Woodson once said Jerry was the best owner in the NFL, but the worst GM. All Ohio State is the worst. Okay. I mean, I can't argue with anything you just said. Severino just threw 97 down the cock right by Cabrera. Let's go, baby.
Down the cock.
This cock.
Right by Cabrera.
No fear, bro.
Yeah. I love Miggy's career, but come on now.
What?
The guy he can't do it anymore. Anyway, Lance Johnson, 3 years in the league, Jake and Monty, you going to put him on special teams? Seriously. Yeah. Okay. A couple more. I have an amazing woman. She actually goes to football, basketball, and baseball games with me. My wife does too. Mike Smith, Reggie Bush lawsuit is a big meh to me. Anyone else really care? Nobody cares. OG Gary, give him his Heisman back. I believe they did. Reggie Bush is a crybaby, kind of like FSU. Ooh.
Well.
Really? Okay. Travis Anderson. Think Katie Rader was asking if Jake has ever met Mrs. Monty. Well, sure he has.
Why would I have not met Mrs. Monty?
That's his mom. So, give him the Heisman back, but made of cheese. Let's see what he did there. Is anyone else bothered that Caleb Williams won't take $500 to have his likeness in EAS NCAA game? I think he's doing the exact right thing. He knows he's the best quarterback in football. He knows he's got a chance to win back-to-back Heismans. Know your value and don't digress.
Yeah.
Do not come off it. Do not sell yourself cheap. Do not do it. Because once you do it once, you'll always do it.
Yeah. And unlike Saquon Barkley, Caleb Williams knows that he has to set the market, and he's not going to take $500.
Yeah. This Severino-Miguel Cabrera matchup is amazing. Miggy's talking to Severino after every pitch. And Severino is throwing 97-mile-an-hour gas down the middle.
Proving a point.
And Miggy just fouling it off.
Proving a point,
And now
man.
he's going to throw him a changeup. And we'll see.
Literally 7 fastballs at 96 plus, 1 cutter.
Let's see if he has the balls to throw him a changeup. Oh!
Right back at
Miggy
him, bro.
almost hit him right in the face. Holy shit. That was unbelievable.
Wow,
and look at Cabrera
bro.
celebrating.
Wow, that was wild.
That was awesome. Miguel Cabrera just about took Luis Severino's flipping head off. I take back every negative thing I've ever said about Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, dude can still hit.
And Severino wants nothing to do with the trainer. That hit his glove.
Yeah, he caught it. It just flipped out of his glove.
I'm a little surprised he didn't catch it. Oh, my God. That was unbelievable.
Wild.
Gary Wolf, does Mrs. Monty like Jakey Two-Holes? No, but nobody does.
Ain't no reset.
Nobody does. Lance Johnson, why didn't Jerry pick up Reggie Bush? Got to be worth at least okay.
How dare you?
Mike Smith, Mrs. Monty tries to set up Jake on dates. Well, he's got a girlfriend.
What are you guys doing, man?
I mean,
Like,
even though he's a virgin, he does have a girlfriend.
Dude, be better.
He does have a girlfriend.
That's the bottom line.
Right? I mean, you guys didn't break up without telling me, right?
Yeah, I have a girlfriend.
All right, I want to run back the USC disappointment thing because I think this is. So we did our locks, which your boy went 2-2.
Yeah, this pisses me off, dude.
So why are you so upset with Lincoln Riley over the 31-point cover?
No, it's not about the cover.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. It's not about the cover. It's about Lincoln Riley being the same old Lincoln we've seen the last 10 years. You don't get it. You don't get that defense wins championships, not offense. And giving up 28 to San Jose State, however much that piped me on my over-under or cover, the point is that should have been 20 points, 21 points. The extra touchdown there, while it's only one extra possession, one extra score, there's a point. Hey, we're not going to let you run a halfback draw through the left side of the offensive line and then give you 25 yards up the sideline and then not pop you when you get to the sideline. That's my issue. The defense, as usual with Lincoln Riley, is a problem. Because if you're willing to give up 28 to San Jose State, what are you going to do against Oregon? What are you going to do against Washington? Because I guarantee you that Washington can hang with you. I guarantee you Oregon can hang with you. Now, will you win those games? Probably. I would expect you to win those games. Probably. But that's not my point. My point is that everyone wants to say Nick Saban's an asshole for not releasing a depth chart, and everyone wants to give Lincoln Riley and his pansy-ass defense a free pass. And I don't understand it. We all want to give Lincoln Riley all this credit. And I agree, as always, Heisman Trophy creator, always has the best quarterback, always has the best offense. But he doesn't win because he doesn't prioritize defense. And it just gets old. Gets old.
I had no problem with their performance. Now, I can't tell you I saw it because it was on Pac-12 Network.
Yeah, I had to go on YouTube and look at their incompetence after the game was over.
I think I'm a Lincoln Riley guy. I agree with you. He has a legacy of shitty defense. This was not one of those games. I think this was playing depth. I think they were in control the entire time. I don't know what more he could have done. I think the 31 was always an under. You're always going to... 31's a massive number. I mean, I would take the under on Alabama at that number. What are they, 38 this weekend? You got to take the under on that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but the under is just a surface level issue. We're going to make excuses later in the season as to why they lost a game when it was a shootout. We're going to make excuses, and we're going to say, oh, yeah, man, if Caleb had just completed that one extra pass, or if his wide receiver had caught that fade to the back pylon. Instead of saying, no, you know what? It's not really about that receiver. It's about the fact that they can't keep someone from running 4 yards on first down.
So they're 38. USC's 38 over Nevada this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You taking that action?
No. That's an under.
That's an under. Oklahoma's 35 on Arkansas State in Norman.
I would go under.
Okay.
Oklahoma's a team that's got to prove.
Ohio State's a 30-point favorite on the road at Indiana.
I would take under on that as well because I don't know what you're doing at quarterback yet.
Okay, what do you say to Wisconsin is 28 over Buffalo at Camp Randall?
Over.
You think they'll cover
that?
it?
Yeah.
Okay. A&M 38 over New Mexico. That's at Kyle Field in College Station.
38?
38.
Yeah, they're not covering 38.
Bama's 39 over Middle Tennessee in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, probably not because it's 39. If it was 34, 31.
Okay, Penn State's 20.5 over West Virginia.
Yes.
You would?
Yeah.
You're going to have them cover that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, those are some of the biggest. I mean, Oregon State's 16.5 over San Jose State. That game is in San Jose, by the way.
Perfect example. What day is that? When do they play?
Sunday.
Sunday, okay. So Monday on the show, or not Monday because it's a holiday or whatever. The next week when we talk about that game, can't remember Buddy's name, their running back run for more than 100 yards against Oregon State? Because he did against USC.
Probably not.
Well, we'll see. We'll find out.
Michigan's 36 in Ann Arbor over East Carolina. No Jim Harbaugh. No offensive coordinator.
No, East Carolina's a little better than people give him credit for.
Tennessee's 28 over Virginia in Nashville.
No, they're not covering that.
TCU's 20.5 over your Prime.
Yeah, they're covering that.
That's in Fort Worth.
Yeah, they're covering that.
Okay. Iowa's 25 over Utah State.
No.
Nope. These lines are ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with Lincoln Riley. I don't know why. I just don't have. I don't have problems with it.
It's just the premise of it.
Okay.
It's why Lincoln Riley is not, in my opinion, with Saban and Kirby or Ryan Day even.
OG Gary. I never pick anything over 6.5, 13.5, depending on the game. Wait. Mike Smith, Mercs. Do you mean mercenaries? Team from exiled Wagner Group. Ugh. How about the Russians confirming his body? Ruff's official. San Jose State scored 28 points on the number 6 team. The ranking don't mean anything. Okay. Gary Wolf, Mike Leach came to Lincoln in a dream. Guys, we don't need defense. Just outscore him.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't disagree. OG Gary, yep, Michigan ECU is 35.5. Oh, ECU. Lance, I had about Texas Tech only 14 at Laramie. Is that right, Texas Tech? No, that can't be right. Is that true? Let me see. Hold on. What number is Texas Tech? Texas Tech. Yeah, wow. They are at the War Memorial in Laramie. 14 points for Tech. Ooh. That's interesting. Tyler Shook better not shake. Texas Tech will win that game by more than that. I mean, how are you going to score with them if you're Wyoming? And granted, Wyoming's
a ground and pound team, dude. They're just going to try and beat you up.
That's a good line right there, Lance. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Aaron Wilson, let's go, Wreckham. Love it. Lance Johnson also says, what about Texas Tech? I read that one. How does that come up twice? I have Tech winning. Does anybody have Texas Tech losing to Wyoming? That would be the upset of the year. Man, how much would Sark love that? He would love that.
Yeah.
Jesus Pinto, 65 TCU to 7 Colorado. Yeah. Somehow I don't think that's coming to fruition. I mean,
does Colorado give us 3 touchdowns?
No.
I don't think so either.
Though I will say one of the more interesting lines this weekend is UTSA 1.5 over Houston. Am I
Dude,
the only one that
disrespect though?
It's real.
Dude, I thought you said UTSA was favored over Houston
on a 60.5 over.
Wow.
They're expecting
that's disrespectful, dude.
They're expecting some points. There's not a lot of close lines.
Nah, it's too early.
There really isn't. I agree, it's too early. Texas is only 35 over Rice. That's interesting.
See, but like Texas, perfect example. Wouldn't we all expect Texas to put up a 50 against Rice?
I
right?
would.
Like, isn't that fair?
I would.
50 and then keep Rice to
10.
10.
That Texas defense is going to be legit.
17 at most.
But BYU's only 20 at home against Sam Houston.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but I think people don't feel as confident about BYU's offense as they would about Texas.
Greg Hawkins, can't Iowa's offense score 3+ against Utah State? No. Can their defense and special teams score 3+ on Utah State? Most definitely. Am I the only one who thinks every team should score 21 as soon as they're off the bus? Like, yeah, 21 points in college football is nothing.
I think it's matchup dependent. P5s, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's a big deal at all. Ron Nolan, has BYU ever played ECU? Oh, yeah, never mind. Yeah, they have. Yep, Brandon Butler, I'm taking the under for a couple of weeks till the clock stuff gets normalized. That could be one. Utah Jizz says smart. Okay. I mean, that's your choice of words, as unfortunate as they might be. Kim Coulter, Houston makes UTSA roadkill. That game's in Houston, too, which is a little surprising. Jeremy Callahan, if Texas doesn't put up 50+ on Rice, you can kiss all those ridiculous preseason predictions goodbye. Well, you ain't wrong about that. Kim Coulter says, guns up. Pew, pew. Let's go. Lance Johnson, always take the under on Iowa. Always. Take the under. All right, a couple non-sports stories because I'm floating over. Your boy is floating over here. Yeah. What do you guys make of this Tucker Carlson, Vladimir Putin thing?
And please, before we get into this, can we not get all crappy about it this time? The last time we did politics, everyone got all crappy about it. Can we not?
This isn't really politics.
Well, I'm just saying, it's even the slightest ripple in the water of anything that even smells like politics. People get pissed.
Should Tucker Carlson be interviewing Vladimir Putin, which, by all accounts, Tucker Carlson is trying to interview Vladimir Putin.
Right.
If on Twitter, on the Twitter platform.
Yeah.
If you're Twitter, do you want Tucker Carlson interviewing Vladimir Putin? On one hand, you're like, well, hell yeah, we want the people there. But do you really want Vladimir Putin to have a free platform on your on X?
Yeah, I think that I agree. I mean, X would probably be like, yeah, hey, we want all this viewership, but I think it's a bad look, dude. I mean,
I think it's a problem, dude.
In a way, like, and again, I'm not doing politics, but I do think that no matter who you are, no matter what your beliefs are, putting the dictator of the country that opposes us most on your platform to do an interview, that seems like a big mistake.
Tell me you wouldn't watch.
Well, yeah, I would, but that's not the point.
I think that is the point. I would not.
You have a responsibility if you're Elon Musk.
But I think Tucker needs the run, and Elon and Tucker are partners, so I understand why it will happen. That doesn't mean I like it or agree with it.
Yeah, I don't.
I think it's a very dangerous precedent to set, because if you give Vladimir Putin a platform, one, there's going to be a language barrier, so it's going to be tough for Tucker to be at his best. And you know Tucker is an excellent counterpoint. He's a great counterpuncher.
Debater, elite debater.
Elite. So you would hope that there would be a back and forth. But is Tucker going to be able to argue over Prigozhin's death? Is he going to be able to argue over the relationship with Putin and Trump? Or those things that everybody wants him to talk about?
My biggest concern with it is, sure, topically, obviously we all know what we want to talk about with that type of interview. But my biggest concern just would be, we all know the spin that happens when Buddy goes back to Russia. We all know, like, would anyone be surprised if, okay, let's say the interview happens and then dude goes back to Russia and is like, yeah, Russia and us are now in a partnership or something, like some ridiculous claim. That's what I'm concerned about. Okay, you're floating. We need to go. All right. Do you want me to start the music now or should I wait 10 seconds?
Well, Timmy got to pee a little bit. I have to pee.
All right. Love you guys.
The Monty Show is presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. I love all of you. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please do that. Till tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.